buckle up, boys. Time to go to work. The new innovation from MLB will allow fans to cheer or boo in their app. The ballpark staff then can match that up with the volume in the stadium.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show, where much like Major League Baseball, we too are innovating the fan experience.
I'm not going to judge you. I would not.
During an interview with one of the biggest guests or newsmakers, simply press the button on your phone to react.
If you want to boo,
press 1.
boo!
To laugh, press 2. And to play Mary Had a Little Lamb, press 1 2 3 2 1 1 1 2 2 2 1 0 0.
Idiot.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
Made it to a Thursday. It's hour 1, Dan and the Danettes Dan Patrick Show. Glad to have you on board. Tom Verducci will join us coming up in a little bit. We'll see if we can find a home for the Toronto Blue Jays. I have some ideas. Apparently, it doesn't sound like Pittsburgh is going to be a destination. And those T-shirts that we made up yesterday are collector's items already. Not even 24 hours old. We have collector's items, the Pittsburgh Blue Jays. Yes, Seton O'Connor.
We'll have an update for you on that a little later in the show.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Aaron Gordon, the Orlando Magic forward. So he lives in Orlando, but he can't live in his house. He's got to live in the bubble. He'll join us coming up. Rick Sutcliffe works for the Mothership, former Cy Young winner, a little bit later on. Verducci will join us coming up. We'll check in with the NFL Players Association President J.C. Tretter of the Browns. Are we full speed ahead for the NFL season? 877-3DP Show. Email address dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle at DP Show. Say good morning to Chat Row, those watching on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. And our great radio affiliates around the country, numbering 362. McLovin will have a poll question. Of course, Ethan will have a couple of stats of the day and a play of the day. All of that coming up. It didn't take very long for Mookie Betts. He didn't even suit up for the regular season game for the Dodgers yet. He's got that tonight against the Giants, and they signed him to a 12-year extension for $365 million. So he's 27 years of age. This is a lifetime deal, and L.A. certainly sent a notice to the rest of the National League. We mean business here. We're going to be competitive for a long time. On the flip side, if you're a Red Sox fan, because it feels like this was the year the Red Sox said, hey, you know what? Or last year, hey, we're going to regroup and try to come back with a vengeance here in a couple of years. And there was thought that maybe Mookie Betts would end up back with the Red Sox at some point. He started his career there, beloved there, but the front office didn't want to commit to him financially. And now the deal is going to be a referendum on both of these franchises as we move forward. If Betts delivers, the Dodgers win, they're going to look great, and the Red Sox are going to be reminded of the one that got away for at least the next decade. But you never know about these big deals. I would never want to sign a player for more than 5 years. I would just be nervous about that. Just playing the odds of, you staying healthy, you staying competitive, the cost that goes along with that athlete there. But we see this with a lot of these baseball players where you sign them up. If it's Mike Trout, if it's Bryce Harper, if it's Garrett Cole, you want to lock them in. And also, there's going to be a question of Mookie Betts no longer in that hitter-friendly Fenway Park. Fans in both cities are going to keep a close eye on Mookie, and his performance in L.A. should be one of the more intriguing subplots in this unusual season. And if you look at the numbers with Mookie Betts, you know my feelings about Mookie Betts. He was must-see TV when he was playing for the Red Sox. And that will be the same, with him playing for the Dodgers. I just don't know if he'll be the same style of player that he was at Fenway, then he's going to be that at Dodger Stadium. If you start to look at the numbers since 2016, where Mookie Betts ranks, and I know that we think Mike Trout, the coronation of best player in baseball and a future Hall of Famer. Absolutely. No problem with that. Mookie Betts, I thought, was the East Coast version of Mike Trout from the standpoint of he could do everything. And he's getting paid to do everything now. Runs, nobody scored more runs since 2016. Hits, third doubles first. Even home runs, he's not a home run hitting guy. He's 5'9", 180, and 5'9", 180. Thank you. 19th in home runs. You look at RBIs, he's up there. He's in the top 10 in stolen bases, in batting average. He puts up numbers all around. Good fielder as well. By all accounts, good clubhouse guy. So the Dodgers are investing in somebody who will be the face of the franchise for years to come. But we'll talk to Verducci about this deal because there are people inside baseball who thought the Dodgers may have committed to Mookie Betts for this deal maybe back in February or March. And then, of course, the pandemic happened and everything was shut down, that maybe this was already negotiated. And the fact that we're playing baseball starting today, starting tonight, the Dodgers rolled this out. So Verducci will join us coming up. As for my Toronto Blue Jays, we thought maybe there's a chance they play some games in Buffalo. Maybe they play in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh seemed likely yesterday, and then all of a sudden, somebody put up the stop sign and said, nope, not allowing you to come in. It's like the third base coach who says, stop, not going to go any further. You're not going home, and you're not going to play in our home ballpark either here. But I get the feeling if you start to look at what the options are, you might have to go back to Buffalo. That's their minor league affiliate. Dunedin is their spring training site. I know Baltimore has been mentioned as well as a possibility, given the proximity of playing the teams in the East, where you could be traveling by train or bus or, less travel there, and Baltimore might be a possibility. Now, the other possibility is the Blue Jays are just going to be homeless. And when they have a home game on the road, then they're going to be able to bat last. That would be the advantage that they have. Let's say they have to play. If they don't have a home by next week when they have their opener against the Nationals, they might be playing in Washington, and then they would be batting second. They'd bat last, and that would be the home field advantage of sorts for the Blue Jays. Yes, Paulie?
Going back to the options, if they played in Baltimore, they're sharing this with the Orioles?
Yeah.
And they just flip-flop?
Yeah. But they were going to do that in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's just... It seems complex based off the schedule.
Well, they're going to have to adjust, but they were going to have to adjust with the Pirates with National League team as well. But the proximity makes sense in Baltimore just because you're going to be playing the East Coast teams. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to cut down on the travel, and if you're able to place them in Baltimore, I think the intriguing part is they might be a team that just plays on the road, and when they're on the road and what is a so-called home game, they would just be batting last, which is still kind of strange. The season starts today. We don't know how many playoff teams there are in baseball. We don't know where the Blue Jays are going to be playing. I don't know if a first baseman has to wear a mask during the entire game when somebody comes there to first base. It's going to be interesting. Is it going to rain tonight in D.C.?
Oh, Yankees at the Nationals?
Oh, come on.
Dan, there's a 50% chance of rain, but there's a 50% chance of no rain.
Okay.
And it's 92 degrees, which is lovely for opening day.
Ooh, that's Garrett Cole against Scherzer. That's good. That's tasty. And then I think it's Clayton Kershaw against Johnny Cueto. Nice little pitching matchup there as well. This program brought to you by Raycon. Wireless earbuds, the way to go. Get 15% off your Raycon order at buyraycon.com/Patrick. That's buyraycon.com/Patrick. So I mentioned the guest list here. Baseball debuts tonight. And McLovin, you got a poll question for me.
Yes. So who are Boston fans rooting against more this year? Mookie Betts or Tom Brady? Or to reword it, whose success would bother them more?
Oh, Brady.
But Mookie is a big bother. Last night on Twitter, the Boston fan said this is bad.
Well,
Because
okay.
Brady had one more year left in New England. Mookie was the franchise for the next decade.
But they didn't want to pay Mookie.
Same with New England. I mean, I feel like Mookie had more of a future in Boston than Brady did. And it feels like Patriots fans are going down and buying Bucs jerseys too.
If I'm a Boston fan, I'm mad at management. I'm not mad at Brady or Mookie.
So do you root for them?
Yes. I mean, if you truly liked them, or did you just like them in your uniform, there's a difference. I think the fact that the Buccaneers being in the NFC, if Brady went to Miami or he went to the Jets or Buffalo, played in the East, then you could root against him. He's going to Tampa. He's in the NFC. It's fine. You can root from afar, and he doesn't come back to haunt you unless you go to the Super Bowl. Mookie Betts, he's in the National League with the Dodgers. The only way he comes back and haunts you is if you go to the World Series and you meet him there. But I mean, how could you not root for Mookie Betts? Couldn't they have signed him for a $300 million deal? Was that that might have been the deal on the table. And, Mookie, of course, did a little better than that, but I wouldn't be rooting against either one of them if I'm a Boston fan. New England fan. Yeah, McLovin.
I think if you're a Red Sox fan, you want that deal to be a failure, though, because that's a deal you passed on. Like, you want your team to say, hey, you know what? We got rid of this guy, and look at, like St. Louis with Albert Pujols. He failed in his new home, so to some extent.
Yeah.
So I think you want the team to look smart, don't you?
Well, I don't think you root against Mookie, but you also want to have confidence in your management and your ownership that they did the right thing by not giving him a long-term deal. I understand that, but I don't think you root. It's weird. You want to root against the deal, but I don't know if you want to root against Mookie. At least I wouldn't. Mookie didn't do anything wrong. He just wants to play ball. Yeah, Paul.
But if you're a Red Sox fan, you don't want him to become a better player, where he's like all of a sudden he's actually, because he's fantastic, but if all of a sudden he becomes in the next 2 years the best player in the league, and it's him and Trout are the two best players, then you're like, oh no. If he cools off a hair and is still an all-star, you're okay with it.
Yeah. Well, he was already up there in the rarefied air.
It reminds me of when the Yankees let Robinson Cano go.
Don't
People
you
are like,
know?
why are you letting this guy go? A lot of power. He's young. And he had a nice career out in Seattle, but he didn't improve. He didn't get better.
Well, the ballparks in both situations.
That's true.
You don't have that right field porch in Yankee Stadium. You don't have Fenway and left.
I know. It's going to be. That's why does Mookie become a different ball player? That's what I'm curious about. He hits a lot of doubles, and are you going to use his speed? We don't really value stolen bases here. It's a home run driven game, but Mookie's a good outfielder as well. Yes, Seton O'Connor.
And there were originally the reports that Mookie Betts was asking for 12 years, $420 million, which he didn't even come close to that. So you would guess that he just didn't want to stay in Boston. It's part of the reason. Like, he just didn't want to play there.
Well, plus they're not a contender, are they? Didn't the Red Sox kind of decide that they were going to regroup here?
They hired the Rays guy, and they're starting from scratch.
Yeah. So if you're Mookie Betts, if you said I had a chance to stay in Boston for a team that's going to kind of reassemble, rebuild, or I can go to the Dodgers, then that's a no-brainer here.
But I think the Red Sox didn't really want. I don't think they were as into Betts as Heim Bloom. I'm reading the quotes on him. Like they want to start from ground zero. They think that they always find sluggers, right? I mean, they always find these good players.
Yeah. And look, that's their philosophy to rebuild. And I think it surprised people because, that's a franchise that makes a lot of money. But if they didn't feel like they were ready to compete, Tampa is considered more of a contender, a bigger contender than the Red Sox. And so are the Yankees. So just in proximity, they're not ready to compete right now. And the Dodgers are. The Dodgers got to get over that hump and win the World Series. And they're certain. They tried to get Garrett Cole. I mean, they've tried to make these big purchases. Time's running out with Clayton Kershaw. The number of years that you can get, quality starts. You continue to get those quality starts. They do have some younger players who are ready to go. But, this is a big year for the Dodgers because they've come close, and now you get Mookie in there. Do you have enough? And I think by all accounts, we look at the Dodgers and almost rubber stamp them into the World Series, whereas the Astros, Rays, Yankees feel like there's a lot of competition, even the Oakland A's in the American League. Yeah, McLovin.
We had another debate that could be a poll on this side of the glass. Which contract do you feel better about? Mookie Betts, 12 years, 365 extension, or Patrick Mahomes, 10 years, $450 million extension?
I'm going to say Patrick Mahomes. I have less games. Like, I always look at the longevity. Can you stay healthy? And Mahomes, as long as they continue to have those weapons, he's got Andy Reid, and, he plays smart. And he's also going to be restructuring that deal every couple of years there. And we might look at these deals in 5 years and go, boy, they got him for bargains there. And maybe that's the case, but I would feel more confident with Mahomes at that position in a sport that protects quarterbacks. Anything else that needs to be mentioned here? Yes, McLovin.
Okay, now I don't know if you've watched events with fake fan noise, but that's a big debate. I was curious if we get into that later because I'm having a bit of a hard transition.
Why?
I don't know. I don't like it totally silent, but I don't like cheesy fan noise. I'm caught in between.
It depends on the sport and the noise that they put in there. Because I've watched and listened to soccer, listened on radio and watched on TV, and it's a little uneven there. But baseball has so many lulls in the action. And then to try to match that and go, okay, we can ramp this up, that's going to be a little tricky. Basketball, I'm okay with just hearing the shoes squeaking and hearing the dialogue and the whistle. And I don't need too much with the basketball game because that's like a summer league game. And I never heard somebody go, man, we need some crowd noise at the summer league game. We don't. Maybe the players are going to go, it'd be nice to have some ambiance. Talking to a caddy on the PGA Tour who said, your player makes a great shot and you're so used to hearing somebody roar and then you want to build off that momentum and you can't. It's weird. You're driven sometimes by the crowd and how they react to something and you can't spring off of that. So we're in a whole new territory here. But I'm okay. I'm okay with it. Let's just play some baseball tonight. Let's get ready for the NBA, and I'm fine. The only people I'm going to complain about will be the officials, the umpires, and the referees. That is not a hands-off. I think we're still allowed to complain about them when they screw up a call. But the other stuff, give me the Blue Jays, give me a home. I'm fine with that. Tell me how many playoff teams we have in Major League Baseball. They don't know. Jeremy in Texas joins us, and we'll take a break. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, I got a question. If the Toronto Blue Jays don't have a home and they have to play at somebody else's field, and let's say it's a night game, who plays the electric bill? I mean, where's that revenue coming from? I know if you have a home field, and you're playing a night game, you got lights and everything else. You still have expenses and costs. How do they do that revenue trade? Is it a hey, you can play our field if you pay the light bill type deal, or how's that work?
I think that's the least of their worries.
Imagine the owner of the Orioles sending the UI bill, the electric bill, over to the owner of the Blue Jays. Hey, you're going to have to prorate this. You had 40% easy kicking in. This thing's past due.
Fritzy just sent me an article that Hall of Famer Jim Rice says Mookie Betts didn't want to leave the Red Sox.
Funny way of showing it.
Well, the Red Sox don't have to pay him that deal. They could have had him. I like how they said between $300 and $400 million. That's a big difference there.
Unless you give me almost $500 million, that's how much I want to stay.
He was looking for $420 for him. But, they got rid of David Price, that contract. They want to get under the luxury tax. I understand what the Red Sox are doing. It's just, it's tough to let a player like Mookie Betts go, who was the face of the franchise. Maybe he wanted to stay, but he wanted to stay at a price that, the Red Sox said that just doesn't make sense for us with what they're trying to do. But if the Red Sox were competitive and ready to go, would they have signed Mookie Betts to that deal? I don't know. But they thought they were going to get Mookie for one more year, and then he'll go for the highest bidder. Well, he went to the highest bidder. We'll talk to Tom Verducci. We got to locate a home for the Blue Jays. We'll ask about the Mookie Betts contract as well. A couple of things to talk to Tom about. Join us on loan from the MLB Network. It's coming up on 20 after the hour. Your phone calls are welcome. 877-3DP show. Take a break. Back after this. Full Sail University has launched the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. You can get your bachelor's degree in sportscasting. Not communications, not broadcasting, sportscasting. Front of the camera, behind the camera, podcasting, radio, and everything in between. And you can get your bachelor's degree in about half the time, as short as 20 months. You can earn your degree online or on Full Sail's campus in Orlando, Florida. Great students online, and this is hands-on. You have projects there, faculty with real-world experience preparing you for what life is actually like in the industry. Couldn't be prouder of these online students because what they're trying to do, and you're doing interviews, you're doing projects, and then the faculty will be grading those. I get to look at tapes that are sent to me, usually on a monthly basis, and you get feedback immediately. That is from people who have been in the business for a long time. To learn more about the Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting, go to fullsail.edu/Dan Patrick. Fullsail.edu/Dan Patrick. I'm going to find out how good an actor you are.
Okay.
Can you wear a Dodger hat and act like you really care?
Oh,
because
God, no.
all the people in Hollywood, all these actors in Hollywood that we see at a Dodger game, now those are some great actors there.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to wear that.
Because you're a Giants fan.
Because I'm a San Francisco Giants fan, a hardcore San Francisco Giants fan. The only actor that I know that does wear this while his allegiance is to another squad is Stone Street. Eric Stone Street.
Kansas City Royals.
Kansas City Royals, but he will rock a Dodgers cap. But I think that's just because of it's different leagues. At least I think that's probably what he's telling himself whenever he puts it on.
How important were sports when you were growing up?
Big. I mean, that for me, sports was kind of how I would relate to the kids in the neighborhood. I grew up in Sacramento. My dad lived in Los Angeles, and so I would sort of travel back and forth. And when we moved to Sacramento with my mom, I had been living in Los Angeles, but I was a little kid. I didn't really know that much about sports. I wasn't that invested. But as I got older, all my friends were Niners fans. All my friends were Giants fans. And so I just sort of fell in with that group. And then hockey came around for me. My dad took me to my first hockey game in '88 before Gretzky. And that then, I was a fanatic. I mean, I still am a huge, huge hockey fan. And that was really the only sort of allegiance that went Southern. So it was all Northern California sports and then the LA Kings. And then eventually the Sharks came around, and I couldn't really quite get on that bandwagon. But yes, I mean, sports are big for me. It's like Rich Eisen says, it's the best reality show in the world. And if you teach anybody just the background, it can make those games really interesting.
So there's one of the USA losers. They said they lay back with a 35-pound weight on their head. We were thinking about trying this just to simulate. We don't have any weights here, believe it or not. We have this crock pot, which is upwards of 20 pounds.
Okay. You want me to put this on your head?
20 pounds?
Maybe. What do you guys think? 15 pounds?
Yeah, I got to put this on your forehead?
All right.
Or are you going to...
Just put it on your face. This is a bad idea.
Okay.
But
that's pretty heavy, though.
But then you're not able to...
How are your abs feeling right now?
I don't have abs. I have ab.
How's your ab?
So you got to try to keep your head up there with this 35-pound weight.
Now, would you rather look over your belly like that or have to keep it up like skeleton?
I'd rather be a loser.
I want to go head first.
Than the skeleton is.
That's nuts.
Skeleton's crazy. Because you're about this far off that.
Going a solid 75, 80 miles.
You could get
in your face.
You could get a nice neck workout and make a lovely soup at the same time.
Breaking records and serving chili.
I think that's it, yeah. Can someone take...
Oh.
He's leaving it on him.
I always wanted Beck to redo I'm a Loser. Like, I'm a loser,
There
baby.
you go. That'd be perfect.
How much do you think that weighs?
Why don't they do that?
Is that like 12
That's the
pounds?
perfect song.
I don't know. It's I think it's gonna get
That would
real
make me
heavy
watch
though
it.
after about turn 9.
Yeah.
I'm a loser, baby.
So why don't you kill me?
Look at us embracing the winter.
That's the song for Luge.
I'm a loser, baby.
Gotta
I
pay
think the
rights.
hard part is getting into that suit.
Remember we did that a couple years ago for that bobsled on
Oh, yeah.
New York?
Oh my God, get me out of here. I can't feel my legs. Get these pants on.
Phone calls coming up. McLovin will settle on a poll question. We got more important things. We got to find the Blue Jays a home. They may be homeless this year, and then when they're on the road as the home team, they bat last. That might be their big advantage. But Buffalo's still a possibility. I think Baltimore is probably the likely destination, and then you share the ballpark with the Orioles. But Tom Verducci will know more than I do. Baseball Network analyst on loan from MLB. Tom, good morning. Where are the Blue Jays going to end up, in your opinion?
Well, my backyard is available. It's a short porch in right field, but I actually think it's a combination of finding some major league park, perhaps it's Baltimore, to share for a short term, but they could upgrade their facility in Buffalo. That's where I think it might go, because right now that's their AAA ballpark, and the lighting there is not up to major league standards. And most of the games are at night. Neither is the clubhouse. So they need to get somebody in there to upgrade the facility. I imagine that's going to take a couple of weeks. In the meantime, you play the games perhaps in Baltimore or you're on the road. Dan, I just can't see this team playing 60 games in 66 days entirely on the road. So I think probably Buffalo with an upgraded facility.
But how did we get to this point, Tom? Toronto doesn't have a home.
Yeah, I mean, they were allowed to do their summer camp there because no teams were coming in and out from coronavirus hotspots. That was the concern of the Canadian government, and then was the concern of the Allegheny County commissioners when they went to or tried to go to PNC Park to share that with the Pirates. So there's no guarantee they can get to Camden Yards in Baltimore. They would need local officials to sign off on that as well. And let's not forget, too, if you're sharing a major league ballpark, the parks already are kind of stretched thin for social distancing. You're not using one clubhouse now. You're using multiple clubhouses and kind of ad hoc rooms that are turned into mini clubhouses. So you'd have to house 2 teams with 60 players. So they maybe have to, I don't know, invent some kind of a auxiliary clubhouses to accommodate the Jays. It is crazy that here we are, today's opening day, and we don't know where the Blue Jays' home schedule will take place.
We don't know how many playoff teams there are this year, Tom.
You won't have to wait long, though. We'll know that by this evening before first pitch. But I think it's a good thing that there's more discussion going on here. Listen, I think the players will sign off on this. Think about it, Dan. The expanded postseason from 10 to 16, that means 156 more players will get to the postseason. It also means there's $300 million more in TV money just this year alone, and guaranteed money going forward. And when owners get guaranteed money from TV contracts, guess what? They pass it on to the players. So I actually think it's a good thing. I couldn't understand why the players didn't agree to it a month ago, but there's time, very little time to get it done in time for the season.
MLB Network's opening night coverage starts at 10 a.m. Eastern. Tom joining the broadcast at 4 p.m. Also on the call for Saturday's Pirates-Cardinals game on MLB Network. And doing studio stuff, I believe. Is that the schedule here for you, Tom? Okay.
That's the schedule, yeah.
Mookie Betts' deal, kind of surprising. More surprising the timing of it or the length and the amount of money?
Yeah, I guess the timing, Dan, because in the middle of a pandemic, who's got $365 million sitting around? Well, I guess the answer is the Dodgers, but listen, when they made the deal with the Red Sox, they did want to extend him. They gave up some good young prospects. They didn't want just to rent him for a year, and this year's only 60 games. But I was told that once they had him in camp in March, and especially the last couple of weeks here in summer camp, they were blown away by how good this guy is. Now, it's not exactly breaking news that Mookie Betts is a really good player, But I think it's different when you have the player in your clubhouse every day, and they were blown away by how good this guy is, how good he is around teammates, the positive attitude every day. So the fact that they gave up a lot to get him, but really fell in love with having him on hand, this was a no-brainer. Don't forget, they tried to give $300 million plus to Garrett Cole. He had his heart kind of set on the Yankees. So I know the Dodgers to this point under Andrew Friedman had not given out a $100 million deal. It was a matter of which guy was best. First it was Cole, but once it was not Cole, then it was Mookie. And listen, I think it's a great buy. Forget about the back end of the deal. You judge a deal to me on, are you buying the prime years of a player and how good is he right now? And as I said, he's one of the top 5 players. And that team is loaded, Dan, for now and for the foreseeable future.
But if you're a Red Sox fan, how do you feel about this?
Oh, it hurts, man. Listen, this guy was a 5th-round draft pick. He wasn't exactly like this, can't-miss superstar coming out of high school. Homegrown star who's just a likable player. He's one of my favorite players to watch play the game of baseball. He should have played his entire career in a Red Sox uniform because of how good he is and what a good person he is. But listen, they made a bit of a run to try to extend him. They didn't get the vibes that it was going to happen. I think he made it clear he wanted to go to free agency. And then you can't disregard the issue of the competitive balance tax. The Red Sox had an opportunity to reset that tax rate. They've done that this year with the trade of Price and Betts. But as a Red Sox fan, it's going to hurt. And it's going to hurt more because this Dodger team, they'll be watching Mookie in the playoffs for years to come.
We're talking to Tom Verducci, MLB Network analyst. You were the first on the bandwagon, I believe, of watch out for Tampa as maybe the team to beat in the American League. Feels like there's more competitors in the American League than the National League. I feel like it's Dodgers, Nationals, and then you can throw in Oakland, the Yankees. Who else am I missing out on?
Houston's there.
Yeah,
The Twins are still a really good team. I think you're right. There's probably the group of elite teams in the American League is probably bigger than in the National League. I think to me the Dodgers are clearly the best team in the National League. No disrespect to the Nationals, who I think would be a handful if they get in again. Because remember last year they were 10-0 when Scherzer and Strasburg started, so they could do the same MO in the postseason environment. Don't sleep on the Braves. They're still a really good team. But I do think the American League is deeper. I think the race between the Yankees and Rays comes down to the 10 games head-to-head between those two teams. And I do think the A's are, they don't get a lot of attention, Dan, but if you asked Billy Beane 2 or 3 years ago, he would tell you that 2020 is the year that they were pointing to, the Chapman-Olsen group, and they'd be all ready with Major League Service time and proven players at this point. Young pitchers look really good. The team I'm curious about is Chicago White Sox, because I know everybody's saying in a short season, anything can happen. It's not entirely true. I mean, the Orioles are not going to the playoffs. The Marlins are not going to the playoffs, even in a 15-game season. But in a 60-game season, the White Sox, I think, have a very high ceiling. They're one of these teams that have a basement and a ceiling, and it'd be very fascinating to see how it plays out. To me, White Sox, Reds, Diamondbacks, they're kind of in that group where they could be a lot better than people think.
Yeah, I've heard about the Reds and the White Sox. And watching the White Sox against the Cubs the other night, and you start to look at the lineup and the pitching, and then, hey, a short season, 60-game sprint, and you're right. You get hot at the right time, and we're going to have at least one surprise team that gets in there, it feels like. I'm also curious, if you win the Cy Young this year, if Jacob deGrom wins the Cy Young, does that Cy Young count just the way the previous two did?
Yeah, it does, and you do get the trophy, but you have to keep it in your desk. You can't hang it on the wall.
But he could go 6-2 and win the Cy Young.
Yeah, I mean, listen, these guys are only going to get 11 or 12 starts, so 6 or 7 wins, and ERA have won something. Yeah, I mean, somebody's going to win the MVP, somebody's going to win the Cy. I actually think there's a good chance that someone is going to have an ERA below 1.12. Of course, that's Bob Gibson's record. Now, it won't be a record in a 60-game season, but I think you're more likely to see that than somebody hitting 400. Nobody's going to hit 400. The game's just the way it's played now. Nobody hits for a high average. Pitching's too good. But I can name you 5 guys I think could have under a 1.12 ERA over 10 or 11 starts.
I went back. I didn't realize that Ichiro, over a 60-game span, hit, I think, 460 back in the early 2000s. Does that sound right?
It is. It's crazy. That was the year he had 262 hits. But if you just go by the first 60 games of a season, nobody has hit 400 over the first 60 games, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, since Chipper Jones, and that was more than a decade ago. I remember talking to Cody Bellinger last year when he got off to that great start, and he was just under 400 by the 2-month mark. And he said, nobody's hitting 400. He said, I feel like I hit out of my mind, and I'd go 1 for 3, and my average would go down 3 points.
Well, we're ready to play baseball. Oh, do you have to wear a mask at first base? Does the first baseman have to wear a mask?
He does not. It's
Okay.
an option. You could. I mean, there will be some players. Didi Gregorius will play with one. Clint Frazier of the Yankees, but it's not mandatory.
If I go to first base and I'm leading off, they're not invoking any social distancing there, right?
No, because that's by CDC guidelines not literally considered close contact because you are outdoors. The minimum period to be considered close contact, I think, is 15 minutes, at least in terms of if you are positive and when they do the contact tracing, did you have contact with someone for 15 minutes?
Oh, okay.
So in that brief period outdoors, it's not considered close contact.
Tom, good to talk to you. And it's nice that I'm not peppering you with questions about what baseball's doing wrong, that we think, the start of a baseball season.
Yeah, I think it could be a lot of fun, Dan. I really do. If we play through the season, September will have more meaningful games than ever before, especially if 10 teams or 8 teams in each league go to the postseason. It could be a wild scramble. So let's hope we get to the end of October safe and sound.
Thank you, Tom. That's Tom Verducci, MLB Network analyst. Opening night coverage starts at 10 a.m. Eastern, and Tom joining the broadcast at 4, also part of the call for Saturday's Pirates-Cardinals game on MLB Network. Ted in Tampa joins us on the program. Hi, Ted. What's on your mind?
Hey, Dan, a couple points here. I think I know the answer, but I've got an email here that tells me I've got a Pittsburgh Blue Jays T-shirt in the mail.
Yeah.
What do I do with that? Number 2, a couple weeks ago I told you to improve your quality of life, please read the book No Ordinary Dog about the Navy SEAL who wrote it and the dog that went in on the Bin Laden raid. Tremendous book.
All right.
Then the other one is the movie that's on streaming, Last Full Measure, about an Air Force medic in Vietnam who was awarded the Medal of Honor but was downgraded. And so the men in his company fought for 30 years against the Pentagon until they all started dying off one by one to get him that medal. And then the last thing is, please watch the best show on TV that you all talk about is Longmire. If you're a Bosch fan, you take Bosch, you put him in Wyoming, make him a sheriff. Longmire. It's the best show on television.
All right. Well, thank you, Ted. A lot to unpack there. We appreciate the phone call. Trina in Georgia joining us on the program. Hi, Trina.
Hey, Dan. First time, long time. 5'6", a hard 135. And my fiance and I are actually on our way up to Asheville, North Carolina right now. We had to postpone our wedding that was supposed to be in May due to COVID, so suck it, COVID. We both work in college athletics, and so for the past 4 months, we've pretty much done absolutely nothing but watch your show every single morning, and we love it. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, Trina, and good luck. And my best to your soon-to-be husband.
Thank you.
All right. That's Trina in Georgia. Nice little call there. So many couples postponing weddings. And my niece, she had to postpone her wedding twice. Almost had to postpone it the second time, I should say. And it was in Kansas City last weekend. I couldn't go. You know, I wasn't going to take a chance of going then coming back and quarantining. But, so I had to live vicariously through others who were there. But, man, it's got to be heartbreaking to try to plan this. You know, you spend all your life thinking about this moment, and then all of a sudden you have no control over it. And then you go, let me move it down the road 3 months. And then 3 months happens, and you go, we're not any closer. I witnessed a virtual baptism and a virtual wedding so far. I zoomed in for a baptism and a wedding so far. And it was fine. It was fun. It was different. But I feel bad for these brides trying to plan this, and then you got to move it. You know, people are getting married on Thursdays. You know, you're just trying to get a date where you can get married because all of these places, they fill up. And you're going to have that the rest of this year. Yeah, Paul.
I know a couple that had a fall foliage wedding planned for Vermont, and they postponed it to next year in October. But the guy wants to get married now, like go to the Justice of the Peace or wherever you go and do the actual marriage now. The woman says, I'd rather do it on that day in front of everybody. And it's not a debate, but which would you do? Would you get married like you were like planning to, and then do the big hoo-ha next year?
I would just get married, and then I would have a celebration at some point. Like, I don't want to try to line up the church and everything that goes along with that, and then the wedding reception. I'd rather just worry about one thing than a couple things. So getting married, and then you have your celebration with everybody. All right, we'll take a break. Play of the Day is up next here on The Dan Patrick Show.
Very exciting, Dan. Today is National Refreshments Day. Very broad phrase that can mean almost anything, but we're going to play a fun game. I asked each of your crew members what is their favorite drink. If they could have one drink for the rest of their lives.
And it's a refreshment.
Refreshment, but I said, drink.
Okay.
And non-alcoholic and not water, so it has to be an actual thing. Can you match the person with the beverage?
Okay.
Top corner is iced tea, ginger beer, Diet Dr. Pepper, cran grape ocean spray. Dan, where would you like to start? And who? I was shocked by some of these.
One is so obvious that you.
I'll go Fritzy Dr. Pepper.
Wait, what?
No, that's Andrew. Andrew's Dr. Pepper.
Oh, you're Dr. Pepper.
Why would I the cran grape?
Why would I go diet?
Why would I would ever order cran grape except for Todd?
I love diet soda. If I'm going to drink soda, I'm not going to drink diet.
My bad.
I don't upset my stomach. The weird.
By the way, that's the healthiest thing Todd's ever ingested.
Cran grape.
That's 100% vitamin C.
If you drank that whole bottle, you would get diabetes on the spot.
I think it's got like
grape juice. Grape juice is worse than soda.
Let me just tell you something. If you ever had cran, I'm just telling you that it's very addictive. It's dangerous.
So Dan, now the bottom is.
So I already screwed that up.
Top row.
Oh yeah.
Paulie ginger beer.
Okay, and Seton
with his sweetened tea.
That is correct.
A little iced tea.
Yeah. See, I overthought that.
You really
I
did.
thought that's almost healthy, and now I realize it's.
If anything, I'd be going like
it's
Mountain
not
Dew
healthy.
or black
Go
cherry,
to the
Dr.
grocery store,
Brown, not
look at the
diet.
sugar content of grape juice. Like we don't even give it to our kids. It's like you might as well give them kerosene.
And it's not just grape juice; it's cranberry juice and grape juice combined.
Yeah, and the diet over there. I think if it was just regular Dr. Pepper.
But even Dr. Pepper though,
I know, but you like a
yeah, Dr.
Mr.
Pepper's
Pibb and
yeah,
Bart's root
but not
beer.
ahead of
and-
Mountain Dew or Dr. Brown's black cherry. Those would be way ahead.
Why
of
didn't
Dr.
those
Pepper.
go in there over the cran
I
grape?
just decided not to go soda this time. I've been trying to be all healthy.
But it was like a.
But this is the rest of your life.
I know, but that's another reason. Not that that's a great, loaded with sugar is a great idea, but I figured let me go fruit.
So that's healthy?
Drinking.
Is it healthier than Mountain Dew, so therefore it's healthier?
Yes, it's more healthy than having soda.
Hey, it's not gasoline. It's healthier.
And
So-
it's not bright green that glows in the dark.
Side thing off this. So I once worked with a guy who enjoyed a beverage. So he would get a giant glass of let's say alcohol and put this much cranberry juice. Then he'd say, you know that the guys in the Jonestown murder who drank cranberry juice survived because cranberry is an antioxidant. So if you put this much cranberry in anything, it's a health drink. Have you guys ever heard of it? It's so powerful antioxidant. I'm dead serious. Have you guys never heard about
So in
the...
case I join a cult and
Yes.
there's a monstrous
And you get it?
massacre,
Yes.
start drinking cran grape.
Add a
and
little
I had the least
cran.
chance of a urinary
Just be like,
tract
hey,
infection
can I get
because
a
of the
little
cranberry
cran with
part.
that?
Right. So pre-cult, down some cran.
But you always have a little cranberry
Yeah.
with your water.
Antioxidants.
Cult guy?
Yeah.
Just in case
Just
a
in case
cult
you're
breaks
breaking
out.
You do that with the spray, right? Your little splash of cranberry.
No.
You're big with the. Don't you do like the 7-Up or spray with a splash of cranberry, or is that the seltzer?
Well, actually, since I'm an adult, I wouldn't order 7-Up or Sprite.
I always thought when we go out to dinner, you get something with a splash of cranberry.
Seltzer. Nobody got.
I'm an
I'm
adult.
7-Up with cranberry.
7
What am I? 11? Give me a Shirley.
No
Temple?
adults drink Sprite or 7-Up anymore. I didn't get the memo on that. I thought you drank. I forgot it was seltzer. But I thought you put a little Sprite with your little splash of cranberry. Cran grape though, much healthier than Diet Dr.
And I don't know why I thought of this, but I thought of this last night. How you discipline your kids. How old are your boys?
13. We have a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old.
Okay. Now they know what you do for a living.
Right.
And are you funny at home? Therefore, does it make it hard for you to discipline your kids?
They don't. They're tough. They're tough critics. Yeah. Yeah. They don't think Dad.
Do they like your movies?
One of them, the 10-year-old, just recently snuck and saw Step Brothers.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Did he talk about
his mom doesn't know.
The scene where you...
But don't worry, his mom doesn't watch or listen to the show, so we're safe.
When you rub on the drum set?
Yeah.
Did that come up with the testicles?
He thought that was the greatest thing ever.
Okay. As a 10-year-old boy.
Greatest thing ever. Yeah.
I did too.
Which it was just like... I could tell he's looking at me like, I thought I knew you. but I haven't even cracked the surface.
But could he do it at home? And would you punish him if he did it at home?
I don't think I would.
You would?
Yeah. I would. I think it's going to be unpleasant for him. It's not going to feel.
Yeah.
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 But can you discipline your kids and actually be mean?
I'm
like
surprisingly
angry?
stern.
Give me an idea.
Sometimes.
Can you? If I'm the 10-year-old and I just did something like I rubbed my testicles on a drum kit.
That would.
Oh,
well,
no,
I don't
you
think
wouldn't
you'd
be
be
mad.
disciplined.
Okay.
Yeah.
I stayed out late.
If you're not like, come on, we need to go to bed. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
Does that work?
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm tired.
Okay. But see, I'm laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm laughing at that.
They're not laughing.
Oh my God.
The play of the day.
Runner left side, got it! I'm gonna play it and play it.
This is the play of the day.
Check this out. Duncan Robinson pull up three, and isn't that a perfect way to restart the NBA season? A pure triple from the 40 points per game from this year's Kings. Jimmy Butler, nice pitch. Robinson's wide open in the corner. Oh, 2 in a row for Duncan Robinson, the king of three-point land right now.
He is a great shooter. Not good, great. Duncan Robinson is one of the great shooters in the NBA. Our guy. 5 of 8 from three-point range yesterday. Played only the first half. Had a team-high 18 points, courtesy of the Miami Heat. And Duncan Robinson of Miami Heat fame will join us on the program tomorrow, along with Joe Bach from Fox Sports. Play of the day brought to you by Raycon. BuyRaycon.com/Patrick. 15% off wireless earbuds. You're going to love them. You will. BuyRaycon.com/Patrick. Alan in San Diego joins us on the program. Alan, good morning. What do you have for me?
Good morning, Dan. Just listening to the game last night. Glad to have baseball on, but that sound is bloody awful. It sounds like Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of criticism, and they've used that analogy there. But I don't know. I don't listen to a baseball game to hear sound. Thanks for the phone call, Alan. Even basketball, I'm okay with, because a lot of times they try to put in artificial noise anyway. They're trying to get atmosphere, ambient sound. I'm not going to complain at all. If they have sound, I promise I won't come in the next day and go, it's horrible. If they don't have any sound and it's just natural sound, I'll be fine with that as well. I promise. The only thing I'll complain about is the officiating, the umpires, those kind of things. The normal things that we complain about. Yes, Steve.
It's almost like a sport-by-sport basis.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, the basketball, I don't really think you need court noise or crowd noise because the court itself makes enough noise. Just the sound of the sneakers squeaking and the ball dribbling. But, baseball, it's sort of like soccer, I think, in that there's this sort of drone to the crowd noise that I find really comforting. Like it sounds like baseball when you're just sort of sitting in an afternoon, watching a baseball game. There's a certain hum or drone to the crowd noise that I really like. I think soccer is similar to that.
But you could have it. Here's the problem is when somebody does something well, then how is the crowd noise going to sound? That's the only thing that I'd be concerned about. The rest of it, where it's just you're going to hear a little bit more on the field and there'll still be noise. It's just not going to be what we're used to. But when somebody hits a home run, that I think is going to be the challenge because you're going to go, okay, home run. Even when you're hearing guys do play-by-play now and somebody hits a home run, you're not excited because a lot of times your excitement is based off of the crowd reacting so your voice is above the crowd noise. That's why you get that, unbelievable sound there, or you rise above the sound of the crowd. In golf, a lot of times you're very, and here he is with a 3-foot putt, this to win the Masters. Very quiet, make the putt, noise, then you go loud. That's what we usually have with Major League Baseball. We won't have that. With basketball, it's just back and forth. There's so much action there. I don't need to ride the crowd level, that noise. I'm okay with that. And then we'll figure out what's happening with football once we get there. Yes, Todd?
And it's not as simple as turning up the sound, as far as the ambient fake noise, if there's a home run, because then you got to factor in, wait a second, that was the road team that hit a home run, and they're not going to cheer like that with the visiting team, so what do I do with that?
Yes, Paulie.
I wonder if they factor in swearing, because, if you have no fans and no sound in the background in basketball and football, I'll imagine a lot of swear words can get past the goalie, and they can't hit the dump button every 4 seconds. Now, when there's ambient crowd noise, like Seton said, you're not going to catch swearing that much in basketball or football. But if it's dead silent, can you imagine a football game between plays or at the end of the plays? You'll hear a ton of swearing. I was watching an MLS match the other day, and the manager caught swearing about a half a dozen times because there is very little crowd noise behind him.
We'll talk to Joe Buck about that tomorrow. Yes, Seton.
I think, too, though, if we sort of take a step back, and if you're watching the game and focusing so much on the crowd noise that you're like, wait a minute, they're cheering at the wrong time, then how boring is the game? You know what I mean? Then you must be watching an extremely boring game that you're not even paying attention to what's happening. You're more interested in how the crowd is reacting.
I'm not going to criticize. I just want sports back.
We're rolling on this.
Yes, McLevin.
So I watched some preseason action. It did really feel like Summer League, though. I don't know if that's good or bad. It really feels like
it doesn't look like Summer League. It sounds like Summer League. There's a difference there.
Yeah.
I think that they've dressed up the visual presentation of an NBA game, that it looks nice. It's colorful. It looks fuller. Whereas if you were at an AAU game, then it would be pretty stark. It'd be bland. And I think they've done a pretty good job. But let's wait for the regular season to see what other elements they add in there, because I'm being told that they are going to add some more visual elements there. Yes, McLovin.
But I saw the highlights of Duncan Robinson hitting a bunch of threes without the fans jumping up after he hits those threes.
I don't think they jump up after you hit a three.
Yeah, sure they do.
No, they don't. Not in the first half. Not too often.
Yeah.
In college, you might do that, but those are students who are there. But
I jumped up as he's on the show later this week.
By the way, baseball will decide before first pitch tonight, the Yankees and the Nationals, if we're going to have 16 playoff teams. The deadline is today, so baseball is going to. What? I'm not criticizing. I'm just giving you information here. That there's no official word if there's going to be 10 playoff teams or 16 playoff teams. I'm going to guess 16 playoff teams because, well, there's more money for everybody. Once you get in, once you feel like you got it kind of figured out here and everybody's going to be safe, why wouldn't you expand the playoffs here? Certainly for this year. Absolutely. But their deadline is by first pitch. And we're still waiting to find out where the Blue Jays are going to play. And the options are that they could play in Baltimore, they could play in Buffalo, their spring training home in Dunedin, Florida, or they could be on the road all season long, and those home games on the road, they would bat last. That's what we know so far here. Kevin in L.A. Hey, Kev, good morning. What do you have for me?
Hey, good morning, guys. I was just thinking that maybe there's a missed opportunity here, because don't we have the technology to have different sound streams where you could actually make a choice for the viewer?
Well, I don't. They have an app that you can be, part of the local fan base, or you're rooting for your team, and then that's part of the broadcast. I don't know enough about it yet, because I think the individual sports leagues are all trying to figure this out. And I think what we're listening to and watching to start a season will probably be a whole lot different halfway through or as we get to the end of the regular season for these respective sports. They're trying to figure all of this out. It's all new to them. We'll check in with the president of the NFL Players Association, the Brown Center, J.C. Tretter. Everything okay? Starting the NFL season on time? And we'll talk to Aaron Gordon, the Orlando Magic forward, who will join us from the bubble. can you put on the headphones? Do you have headphones?
You want me to put them
on? We got a surprise for you. Seton will help you.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a surprise for you before you go. Paulie?
Yeah, as we all know, Sean was one of the co-hosts of this show back in the day. We had a lot of fun, Sean, back in the day. And this is one of your personal favorite interviews, Sean. I think this is 2005 with former Yankee great Mickey Rivers.
Oh, dude, don't do this to me.
You see the team is going to be a land, so you just better get a social pick one more less to be just a Southgate guy.
What?
I don't know what he said.
People who are international, like the international guys, more a little bit slow trainer didn't still break over there.
But my favorite is when he laughs at the end, like he just delivered a great punchline. I don't know what he said.
You looked at me like, dude, what did he say?
Yeah.
I said, I don't know. And then I look at you because you want the interview over.
I know. And then you followed up by going, do you have any Reggie Jackson stories? And I go, no. I don't want. You may have Reggie Jackson stories. I won't be able to understand them.
I mean, I'm hitting this. I turned my mic off, and I'm friggin' crying. And going down, and Dan looks at me when I say Reggie Jackson stories, Mickey. And Dan looks at me like, dude, are you the dumbest guy on the planet, Sean? But here's the kicker.
I was ready to kill
the
you.
greatest kicker ever is when you talk to him about Bucky Dent's bat, and he was interviewing Bucky as if Bucky was on the air, and you just referred to a highlight. It was the greatest.
It was like he was talking to Bucky, but Bucky wasn't there. And I'm listening to this, and I just went, oh my God! And then he started with, and then I don't know what he said, and I was like, let's wrap it up.
Hey, Mickey.
Hey, do you have any Reggie Jackson? No! Good God, no!
God, it was. And I can picture when Mickey was talking about how, he was all quick in the batter's box. You know how he'd always shrug his shoulders in the batter's box? Dude, I've had so many priceless
Sean,
moments with you.
he got arrested, or he almost got arrested at the toll booth. Remember, he was on the phone, and he lied to the toll booth guy that he was on the phone with Mr. Steinbrenner.
You cannot. Nobody wasn't on the phone with Mr. Steinbrenner.
No.
Apparently, he was on the phone with Bucky Dent.
God. It's great to see you, buddy.
It's great.
That's my gift, too. That's why it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Uncontrollable. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
it's great
Sean
to be on.
Salisbury. Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work. The new innovation from MLB will allow fans to cheer or boo in their app. The ballpark staff then can match that up with the volume in the stadium.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show, where much like Major League Baseball, we too are innovating the fan experience.
I'm not going to judge you. I would not.
During an interview with one of the biggest guests or newsmakers, simply press the button on your phone to react.
If you want to boo,
press 1.
Boo!
To laugh, press 2. And to play Mary Had a Little Lamb, press 1 2 3 2 1 1 1 2 2 2 1 0 0.
Idiot.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave. This is Dan Patrick.
Hour 2 on this Thursday. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. We thought we had a gold mine there with our Pittsburgh Blue Jays t-shirt that we unveiled yesterday. And now we find out Pittsburgh doesn't want the Blue Jays. We're trying to find them a home, and then once we do, then we'll create that t-shirt. Are they the Baltimore Blue Jays? Are they going to be the Buffalo Blue Jays? The Dunedin Blue Jays? Are they going to be the homeless Blue Jays on the road, and then their road games where they're the home team, they get to bat last? Those are some of the options. So baseball starts tonight. We don't know where the Blue Jays are going to play, and we don't know how many playoff teams there's going to be. It's kind of rare to go into a season in any sport where you go, we got one franchise who doesn't have a home to play in, and we don't know how many playoff teams there are going to be. Other than that, everything looks good. Doubleheader coming up tonight. Got the Nationals, Yankees, Dodgers, Giants. Play ball. Yeah, McLovin.
But which is weirder, that there's an NFL team reporting a training camp without a nickname, or that there's a team with a nickname without a city in baseball? And it's fast.
What are the Washington football players going to wear on their helmets? Are they still going to be able to wear that logo? Do they take off the sticker and it's a maroon helmet? I'm curious. And what happened to that time frame with Daniel Snyder? Because I still think that he got out in front of this Washington Post story by announcing that he was going to change the nickname. How many days ago was that? 10? And we haven't heard anything about this. Remember, you had somebody who had trademarked all of the nicknames, the potential nicknames there? Haven't heard anything about that. Have we heard from Daniel Snyder? We got a memo, right? I think that's it. Yes, Todd.
I think you have a maroon helmet and then in capital white letters, WAS. WAS for Washington, but WAS is also, there was a logo here once, and now that logo is gone.
Thank you, Todd. How about the Washington Football Club? Like, you almost treat it like it's a soccer team. No nickname there. But I'm waiting for a time frame there on what's going to happen with Washington. We're going to talk to J.C. Tretter. He runs the Players Association. He's the president, the Cleveland Browns Center, will join us coming up. Aaron Gordon, the Orlando Magic forward, lives in Orlando, but he has to live in a hotel room in the bubble. We'll talk to the former slam dunk champ. And Rick Sutcliffe, MLB Network, or ESPN baseball analyst, former Cy Young winner. We'll talk about the Mookie Betts deal, because that surprised some folks. I think that deal was already in the works or completed maybe back in February or March, and they just rolled it out because the baseball season starts tonight. All righty. We got a poll question, McLevin?
Yeah, I started with which contract makes you feel more comfortable? Mookie Betts, 12 years, $365, or Patrick Mahomes, 10 years, $450, and Mahomes, 75%.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. It's hard to even remember, but Major League Baseball did have part of a spring training this year, and that feels like such a long time ago. And now the real season's kicking off, and even diehard fans probably need a refresher. The big story was supposed to be, how are the fans going to treat and harass the Houston Astros for the cheating scandal? That kind of went away because there's no fans there. Now it's going to be incumbent upon the players, if they want to police the game and they want to hit the Astros or they want to throw at them, We get to see how Mookie looks in a Dodger uniform, Garrett Cole with the Yankees. And does it look like or sound like a foregone conclusion the Dodgers are going to be in the World Series this year? Feels like there's a little bit more competitiveness in the American League for that possibility getting to the World Series. The biggest difference is going to be coronavirus and how players will be distanced from one another. The Blue Jays, we don't know where they're playing. Teams have to manage their staffs for a 60-game season. It's a sprint, not a marathon. So fast and furious, but hopefully safety first when it comes to the possibility of getting to the postseason. But I think it's going to be a fascinating ride. That, yes, it's 60 games, but enjoy the 60 games. And the number of teams who would still be in the playoff contention races, now we're going to go from 10 teams to 16 teams. So you got 60 games and 16 teams, so 8 from each league, are going to make the postseason. Now, it might render the regular season meaningless, but you're still going to have some excitement. You'll have at least one outlier that makes it into the postseason that you didn't expect. Will it be the Reds? Will it be the White Sox? Will it be the Diamondbacks? So it'll be fun. And I think the more open-minded we are about this, the better the experience is going to be. Because if you go in, just like when, J.R. Smith got to the bubble and he complained about the meal, and I said, shut up, J.R. You're lucky to be in the bubble. Just play. You got a chance to win a championship here. We're watching this unfold. It's not going to look the same. It's not going to sound the same. And in some sports, it won't be the same. But you have something. And if I said to you 3 months ago, 4 months ago, you're not going to have any sports for 4 months. But when it comes back, it's going to look like this and sound like this. And everybody would have signed up for it. It's here. Enjoy it, because I hate to be skeptical. We're going to start these sports. I hope we're able to finish these sports. 877-3DP Show, email address dp@danpatrick.com, Twitter handle @DP Show. Zach in Pittsburgh, the city that doesn't want the Blue Jays, joining us on the program. Hi, Zach.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
Okay.
Hey, so you guys were just talking about the fan noise being reproduced. They actually had a really good job of it reproduced on the Cleveland Indians Pirates series that just played. Anytime something good that the Pirates did, they had reaction on the TV. So I don't know about in the stadium for the players, but the Pirates have been pretty much background noise since Barry Bonds left. So nothing's really changed for us. The background noise is still the same, and it sounds like summer baseball to us.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Zach. I don't know if there will be sound pumped into the stadium as much as it will be just for your TV. And I don't know how they do all of this. Joe Buck will join us on the show tomorrow. I just think it's kind of a work in progress. They're going to see what looks right, sounds right, and then they'll make adjustments here. But I do think that you're going to have somebody, can you do a 7-second delay in some of these sports? Because you're going to be hearing a lot more than you ever thought you could. And these players are going to realize, hey, I got to watch what I say, because you're going to have microphones that pick up things. It was the crowd would drown it out or it'd mute it, and that's not going to be the case. Yeah, McLovin.
Do you think there's any chance, like with baseball, this will be more exciting than the old seasons and they'll pick up some of these things, like a shorter season?
No, there's too much money that they're paying out with these contracts.
But what if this is the best baseball season we've had in 20 years?
But you have to extrapolate and go, okay, I'm paying Mike Trout this amount of money. How do I get that money back? Mookie Betts is making this. Garrett Cole is making this. The only way you can do that is to play 162. They're getting paid off 162. If they were getting paid off 60, that would be interesting to see these contracts right now. Yeah, Paulie.
I always root for what's awkward. Remember years ago when Brady, and we wanted him to win the Super Bowl, so we had to shake hands with Belichick, or shake hands with the commissioner. I think I'm now rooting for the Toronto Blue Jays to win the World Series, or at least make the World Series, because I would love that the World Series is played in Buffalo or some type of weird place, and that the Astros being in the World Series would have been very awkward.
If the Astros go to the World Series, I'm fine with that.
It's awkward.
I like the uncomfortable feel that's going to have.
They're top 5 in odds to make the World Series.
I'm gonna wager that the Blue Jays are not going to go to the World Series.
They are. You bet 100, you win 8,000 if they win the World Series. They're 8th from last as far as the odds to win the World Series.
they're not a very good team.
The worst teams odds-wise right now are the Pittsburgh Pirates, Baltimore Orioles, Miami Marlins, Seattle Mariners, Detroit Tigers, Giants, Royals. Kind of all in that mix.
Oh, okay. Chili in Orlando. Hey, Chili.
Hey, Dan, good morning. First time, very long time watcher or listener. Couple of quick hits. First of all, thank you for the Miami experience. I'm looking forward to Tampa. You guys are great with the post-show photo op with everybody that was in the studio audience.
Great.
It was amazing.
Yep.
And second thing is right in the backyard there for Fritzy and Seton, I'm thinking of the Yard Goats place in Hartford. Place is amazing as far as the minor league park. I know it's a Colorado affiliate there, but that place is awesome. 2-hour bus ride to Boston or New York. Baltimore is not far. I thought that's a good one since they're in the same division. Was wondering if that ever went on the plate for consideration. And finally, just really quick, we're at the midway point or just past for MVD, right? Most Valuable Danette. Can I give you a quick thought on that?
Yeah.
So quick categories. I got Paulie as the nicest guy. Fritzy as the funniest.
Wait. That's a bad start, Chili.
I'm offended by that.
Yeah. Paulie's not the nicest.
Well, I've met him twice now. He saw my kids there at the bottom of the old subway place. I saw him in Miami. I think he's a nice guy.
Okay.
And
when nobody's looking, Paulie is a nice guy. Yes.
Hey, this is interesting, too, because according to the show's Wikipedia page, we haven't done MVD. The last one was 2017.
Yeah.
So
I just didn't find somebody who was that valuable.
Right.
I mean, I don't have to hand out an award every year, though. Yes, Chili. What else do you have?
I got so Cena's probably the coolest dude. I got McLovin with the best degree, but Ethan MVP.
Oh,
wow!
I was waiting for that.
Okay.
I knew that's where he was going from the second he got on.
Okay.
Cold-blooded.
Ethan is our stat guy. Well, he's America's stat guy and a Harvard grad. Yes, Paulie.
It's like eligibility. Has he performed in enough shows? Like if you started after the All-Star break in the NBA, would that be enough to win the scoring title?
Well, I don't know if it's number of shows, and I'm going to have to go back and see if there's anything in the rules that you have to have a certain number of shows to qualify for Most Valuable Danette. It's like Zion with Rookie of the Year. Can he be the Rookie of the Year? Yeah, that's sort of what Ethan has become with this show. Yes, McLovin.
I'm sure Ethan has a stat on what's the least amount of days worked by a Danette to win MVD.
Well, Ethan in the mix here? So do I change this? He's not a Danette, so Most Valuable Danette. But he feels like he's the fifth Danette.
Whoa. Some people are not going to like that.
Now you're just being cruel.
I know,
Dan.
I am. I'm being mean. Yes, Todd.
When you're making such a significant difference in our content and our programming over a short period of time, I think you could wink at the lack of the number of games or reps. And I think he's a top
You think
candidate.
that Ethan should be?
I think he should be in the mix for the voting. Sure.
Do you know his last name?
No, I know I have it on an email somewhere.
Okay. All right, so Ethan, our stats guy, might be.
But we refer to him as Ethan, the stats guy.
Yeah.
Should we give his last name and his address and phone number? How does that help the process?
I'm just curious if you knew him, Todd. That's all. Don't get defensive.
You get 25 emails a day.
I don't think I'm on. I don't think I'm on his email
okay.
chain. To be honest, when you guys are talking
How
about
many
stats that
times-
you got, I haven't seen any stats in like.
You remember
weeks.
the cameraman we had?
I'm not going down this road.
No, you just went down this road.
Oh.
No, you were asking me if I knew Ethan's last name.
I know, but I'm just curious if you read the email here. Remember when we in New York, we had a great cameraman?
I haven't seen any email from Ethan. I'm sure he's doing fine work, but when you guys
And you
share
did
his
not know the
information, I'm
cameraman's
hearing it for
name.
the first time.
The cameraman who was in there every single day.
Frank.
Yeah, I know. And I said, Todd, do you know his name? And he goes, yeah, of course I do.
I like that Todd's not on the email chain with our stat guy, and it wasn't going to bring it up until the segment came up.
Yes, he.
Oh, damn it. I had something to say, and now I forgot what I was going to say.
That's going to hurt you in the Most Valuable
Damn,
Danette.
I had something, too, and it was to get off of the Todd thing.
Oh, you were trying to...
I was trying to get us away from this.
Frank?
Yeah.
Cameraman, Ethan.
Defensive Todd. It's my least favorite Todd, so I wanted to get away from it as fast as possible.
All right. Well, then maybe you are the Most Valuable Danette. If you're doing what's better for the show, and, of course, Todd. Because Todd is the epicenter of this program. He's a true American treasure, I think somebody called you. Yes, McLeod.
I'm sorry they were joining this, but Todd just said Ethan should be up for MVD. He goes, I haven't gotten a stat email in months.
And that shows
So what are you basing
I'm willing
this
to
on?
overlook the fact that he decided that I wasn't important enough to be part of the email chain. I still think he's doing fine work, even if I'm hearing it for the first time and you guys see the stats ahead of time.
Ethan started in early April, by the way. I just wanted to bring his name and his work to light now because I wanted to see if he was going to be consistent. Yes. Ethan.
Chat row said that they always thought that Todd was the fifth Dan.
Wow. Wow. That's right.
That's not nice.
Yeah.
It's funny as hell.
Yeah. Speaking of the fourth Danette, Reggie Miller, I think, is going to join us next week. Yes.
Have you noticed, too, now that Ethan's been getting all this love, all of a sudden there's all these other new stat guys coming out sending in all the emails? They're trying to get in on the party, but sorry, only one Ethan there, guy.
Yeah. I got a guy named Aaron Charlton who just got involved in this. Like, Aaron, easy.
Norm Charlton's son.
Unless you went to Harvard and you're able to keep up with Ethan there, keep the stats coming, Ethan.
Ethan casts a long shadow.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Vincent in Wisconsin joining us. Hi, Vincent. What do you have for me today?
Thanks, Dan. First of all, I just want to say how great it was to hear Bob Uecker calling baseball yesterday, and it was great. I don't know if you got a chance to hear it. Him calling Yelich's home run. He started standing up, giving him a standing ovation and yelling, and you could almost see Christian Yelich right at home plate pointing up to Bob Uecker because he can hear him because he's the only one in the stadium. Hey, getting to the MVD, I think just a weird observation here. It has to do with rugs. Seaton has 3 awesome rugs under him. I believe Paulie has 2. And the back row shares a rug, which tells me a lot. And as far as, Dan, a suggestion to get Penny to like you a little more, put a rug in that back room because Penny's claws on that cement, man, she doesn't dig it. That's why she doesn't come out and hang out with you, buddy.
Wow, that is deep. Yeah, Penny is the big German's dog, and back in the control room, Penny is there, and I go back usually once a show to give her a cookie. And Vincent's saying that I should have a rug there so Penny can come out instead of on the cement. But I'll work on that. I did not think that. Bo in Virginia joining us. Hi, Bo. What do you have for me today?
Hey, guys. Speaking of Ethan, can you get him to start doing Fritzy's puns? If you put WAS on the Washington helmet, it doesn't mean there was a logo on there. WAS is the logo.
Thank you, Bo. I don't want the audience to turn on you, Tom.
That's all right.
Because you're an American treasure.
I'm not sure what his point was there. WAS, it would be the temporary logo, which stands for Washington, and that there was a picture of something that was derogatory before there was.
Yes, Paul.
I got to agree. I'm an expert at jabbing Fritzy. That guy kind of whiffed there.
It's
By the way, Ethan's brand, bad day to be up for MVD. You decide to take a day off on a Thursday? Whoa.
Wait.
Ethan's off today.
Let me see here.
I haven't seen anything. Putting your feet up. Seen it before.
I think what Ethan did is he is off today, and he probably sent all of his information to another stats guy named Aaron, who's trying to weasel his way in here. I think that's what it is. Yes, Ethan.
Delegating responsibility is a sign of true leadership by Ethan.
I like that. I like it. Absolutely. Yeah, Paul.
Legend.
Yeah, I think that Ethan is a team player. Yes, McLeod.
Have we ever seen Ethan and Aaron in the same room,
We have
by
not.
the way?
We have
so
not.
we kind of know who Aaron is.
We have not. You're taking a day off soon, aren't you?
Yeah.
Tomorrow?
Next Friday.
Maybe Ethan might be available.
Dangerous.
I mean, remember when Lou Gehrig started?
Wally Pipp.
Yeah.
Dang, dude.
Yeah, I know. But I got to find somebody really good to replace McLovin if he's not going to be here on a Friday.
We had Oderus do it once.
I just had to say, Paulie just threw me a joke. So he said it's so bad that I don't know if we could say it. Oh,
then we probably shouldn't.
No. He's evil, and Todd is clueless.
Wow.
Once again, Paulie proving he's not the nicest Danette.
No.
How could in person is one thing.
Well, when we get a chance to meet fans of our show, I think it's really cool that they come out or stop by the old studio
Like, you don't make fun of them until they leave, and then you talk about them behind their back. But-
Sometimes I'll make fun of their clothing and stuff, but I think they think it's fun to be made fun of. It's like if you ever meet a comedian, and if Adam Sandler makes fun of what we're wearing,
yeah,
it's funny. You know, I find it funny when someone makes fun of you, who you respect.
Or Fritzy hugs somebody's girlfriend or wife.
Yes, without being asked.
Yeah. All right, take a break. We'll check in with the NFL Players Association. J.C. Treader, Browns center. He was great last time he was on with us. Is everything good? Everybody good going into this season with the NFL Players Association and the NFL. Also, we'll keep an eye on. There's a couple other stories. The Seattle hockey franchise is going to announce its nickname this morning. That'll be right after we go off the air. But that won't stop us from maybe speculating what that name could be. I liked Sockeyes, but I don't know how that sounds. They had a contest. Seattle Times readers chose the name Sockeyes in a weeks-long polling contest. That was 2 years ago. Have you seen any other nicknames in there? Kraken.
Yeah, the Kraken came out of nowhere.
Now that's a fictitious character, right?
Yeah.
Creature.
Was it Release the Kraken? Is that Clash of the Titans, the movie? And then the Emeralds is also popular. They think those are the betting favorites. Kraken, Sockeye, Emeralds.
I like Emeralds. I would go Emeralds then instead of Sockeyes. Although, if you're looking for the logo, like Sockeyes would be pretty good. I don't know what Kraken looks like. I don't remember.
It's kind of like a Godzilla type character.
All right. Well, that's coming up at 9 Pacific. Yes, Tom.
With emeralds, you could have a nice big green shiny jewel as that. You can make that work as a logo.
I wonder if they had thought of that.
Wow. What else were you going to show for Emeralds?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
And that's why you
something
are
Wizard of Oz related. That wouldn't
Captain
make sense.
Obvious.
That's Kansas.
Captain Obvious. Do you think the folks in Seattle are going, wait, did you hear what Fritzy said? How about we do green and emerald? And
Yeah, it's not necessary.
No, it's not. Okay, my bad.
Seattle Supersonics. How'd that work?
21 after the hour. More phone calls coming up. The halfway point for Most Valuable Dan N. Back after this in the Dan Patrick Show. Simply Safe Home Security. Most trap you with high prices, tricky contracts, and lousy customer support. Not Simply Safe Home Security. Everything you need to protect your home. None of the drawbacks. No contract to sign. It's about $15 a month. 24/7 protection. You install it. You get an arsenal of sensors, cameras to blanket every room, window, door, tailored specifically for your home. The professional monitoring keeps watch day and night, ready to send the police. In case there's an emergency, they have medical professionals there. U.S. News & World Report named it the best overall home security of 2020. So I'm not the only one who thinks Simply Safe is great. Actually, when you see the reviews, you're getting all 5-star reviews with Simply Safe. Try Simply Safe today at simplysafedan.com. You'll get free shipping and 60-day risk-free trial. Nothing to lose. simplysafedan.com. Good luck. What was it like the first time you played with Nicholas?
Big Jack? Wow. Well, you know, he was my introduction and inspiration. I watched the Masters in '71 and thought, right, I want to be a golfer. Let's try golf. That's how it all started. And the first time I played with him, do you know, would have been that Ryder Cup. 77 running. 6 years later, after studying the game of golf, I'm playing against Jack in the 77 Ryder Cup. And I never forget, because I was long in those days. I had a licorice stick. They just invented, our dealer had just invented the graphite shaft. And I hit this thing out at the 4th hole, and I'd driven it. I'd say it's 20 yards past Jack. It was actually 30, but I don't want to upset him. I was 20 yards past Jack, and I'm standing there looking forward at the green, thinking, don't look back. And I could feel his eyes burning in the back of my neck. And I'm like, Jack's looking at me, Jonathan. Anyway, with my partner, Peter Oosterhouse, we beat them. We beat Jack and Ray Floyd on the 17th green, 2-1. So you imagine that as my kind of intro. And And my favorite story is that, so I started in 71, and in 1973, my dad took me to Troon to my very first Open. And I loved it because I spent my time on the practice ground and I just watched the guys practice. That's all I wanted. I was soaking up all these different idiosyncrasies, all these different tempos. You know, Jack and Arnold and Gary and Trevino and Miller and Weiskopf. So I'd soak that up. Anyway, so I go to our Porta Johns, which are called toilets back in Britain, you know, ugly, you know, this. And Jack jumps over the fence, right from the hotel. He's staying at the Royal, the hotel, jumps over the fence to get to the range to avoid the crowd. So it's just me and Jack, and he goes in and to the restroom, and because he's in there, just him. And I stood out there in shock, and he comes out, and I didn't shake his hand, and I disappeared, and because I'm 16, so what do? So I go in there, and what does a 16-year-old boy do? I whittled everywhere, all the way around to say I've whittled where Jack Nicklaus has whittled. So I tell Jack this story now, 40 years later. And he always going, what is whittling? What on earth is a whittle? So that was my first intro to Jack, so that was pretty cool.
And you somehow got knighted with stories like this in your background.
Yeah, they didn't hear that bit, yeah.
Player of the year.
What do you got, Todd?
All right, so 29 years ago today, I know this feels like a scoreboard kind of thing, but this is...
I do sports history.
I don't, but this is one thing that I think is worth having a little fun with viewers. And this could...
But you do scoreboard, but
I don't mind... I'm not trying to steal... I'm not trying to steal this.
You're not trying to steal
I'm not. So hopefully you have something different at the end of the show. 29 years ago today, Reds, Cubs, things got a little nasty.
The Cubs.
When
You
you
just
got
got
a
a
Cubs
Cubs shirt on today.
I know, but it doesn't say DeCenzo on the back. And here's what happened 29 years ago today.
Squeezes on. The bunt is down. The run scores. And Dibble throws the ball away. DeCenzo to second. It almost looked like Dibble was throwing the ball at DeCenzo.
He had just got back from the suspension yesterday. He's saying, what for? What for?
But it did appear that Dibble was throwing the ball at DeCenzo. Joe West apparently thought so and threw him out of the game.
West not having any of it.
Unfortunately for the Reds, Steve, he's out of here. He's pleading his case, but it's too late.
Chaz Steiner.
Sounded like the way
Didn't the voice sound like Charlie Steiner at the end?
Pinella wasn't exactly furious, if you noticed, trying to stick up to him. It wasn't exactly screaming that he should.
I think Pinella went, how do I make this look good on TV? Hey, I don't agree with that. Come on, Dibble. Let's go. More phone calls coming up. This program brought to you by Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. It's the all-new GT four-door coupe. Life's a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. If you missed any of our interviews from the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, go to danpatrick.com. Watch and listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave. Mercedes-AMG, driving performance. He's got a real important job. He is the president of the NFL Players Association, J.C. Tretter, and also the starting center of the Cleveland Browns. Browns scheduled to open the season in Baltimore on September 13th, and JC kind enough to join us. Where do we stand here? What questions are left to be answered from the side of the NFL Players Association?
Yeah, there's still quite a few. We obviously made some strides early in the week on some of the safety issues. Those I don't really even consider union wins at this point. Those were just the right thing to do by the NFL, and we've been fighting to get the NFL to look at this thing, understanding that football has to look different. There's no way to fit coronavirus inside of football. You have to find a way to fit football inside of coronavirus. Things like daily testing, things like no preseason games were things that had to be done in order to try to not just start a season, but finish a season. So there's still a lot of work left to be done, a lot of questions left to be answered.
But you go back to Sunday, and it felt like an orchestrated Twitter salvo being fired by some of the marquee players to the NFL. Did you organize that?
That was player led, and that's the thing about a union. The players are the union. So was it union led? Yeah, the players organized it. And I think that just shows that the players are very concerned about health and safety, very concerned about the health and safety of their families, and they want these questions answered. And we've been working on this for months, and it seems like it's taking forever. And we continue to press the NFL to provide us the answers that our guys want. And some of those issues are still outstanding.
We went from, 4 preseason, 3 preseason, then 2, 1, 0. Pretty quickly there. Why don't the players want at least one preseason game?
So there's 2 issues. One's the COVID side of it, where if you're creating these safe bubbles at your facilities, what's the benefit to playing a game, mixing 2 groups, risking an outbreak for a game that doesn't count in the standings, and in doing so could derail the entire season if something happens? Second, the football side of it, and something we're still fighting for, is the proper acclimation period, as well as ramp up. And the more preseason games in the schedule, the shorter that ramp up can be. And what we learned from the lockout season, where gyms were closed, we had guys who didn't go through a normal off-season program. We had a huge spike in soft tissue injuries, 25% increase overall, 44% increase in hamstrings, twice as many Achilles injuries. So we have that data from before, understanding that we didn't do the proper ramp up 10 years ago. And now it's necessary to do the proper ramp up to make sure we take guys from where they're at right now to game speed without rushing them back and having a mass injury event during training camp.
But you have a new head coach in Kevin Stefanski, just trying to get acclimated to being on the field, have communications up top and with your quarterback. How do you try to have some kind of semblance of a game or situational football where he's able to do that without it just being the first game of the regular season?
Yeah, I trust the coaches to be able to figure out how to put us in those positions in practice and put us in situations that we can mimic live game reps, mimic those situations and get ready for the game. And I think that's possible without preseason games. And how many, if we were to play one preseason game backed up to the regular season, how many of the starters who you're talking about getting ready would have played in that game, risking injury anyway? Overall, it just didn't make sense to slide one in at the end, because I don't think it would have did what it was supposed to do.
What about inter-squad games? Do you see that happening?
Well, you mean between 2 teams or just between one team?
If you did 2 teams, could you see that happening?
That was the joint practice, and that was a recommendation from our joint subcommittee that, again, just like the combining of bubbles during the preseason games, you didn't want to fly a group out to another city, have them live in a hotel for 4 days in a bubbled environment, and have that risk of an outbreak. And that's the thing we've continued to preach, is we can easily get started. It's about staying started and continuing a season. And you can't make decisions to try to prioritize the football aspect of it, and in doing so derail the entire season.
But you still remain confident that you're going to start on time?
Well, the NFL is allowed to open up the facilities. That's in their right. It's our job as a union to protect our players and try to create and demand the safest workplace possible. So the NFL and the clubs are going to start bringing players back, all players back in the next week. We have things in place to monitor them and make sure they're taking everything we're putting into place seriously. And if they don't, then we'll have actions that we'll take to make sure we keep our guys safe. And as guys report, we'll continue to monitor that and make sure everything's going well.
But where things stand today, though, JC, are the players expected to report?
If the team players have contracts, so if the team tells you to come back on the 28th, as long as it fits within the CBA, you go back. Those are the rules, and that's why the union's pushing so hard for protections to make sure these locker rooms, these facilities are put into place and up to code, that guys aren't being at risk by being at the facility. So that's what we continue to fight for, continue to demand, and push the NFL to make sure these are as safe as environments as possible.
If the facility was open today, would you show up?
Me, no. I don't have to be there till the 28th.
No, but if it was open, let's say if today was reporting day, would you be there?
If today were the 28th, I would be there because
Okay.
I'm contractually obligated to be there.
Okay. The Antonio Brown situation, where does the NFL Players Association, what's the role with them? Because he said he was going to retire. Now he says he wants the NFL to wrap up their investigation so he can play again. What role does the Players Association play in a player? Is Antonio Brown still a member of the union?
I believe, if he's retired, he would be a non-active player.
I
I'm
don't
not
think
sure.
he's retired. I think he's
I'm not sure he
threatened.
filed the paperwork or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that. I didn't see that report whenever that came out about him retiring, then unretiring. So I'll have to look into kind of what we can do to help wrap up that situation. But I'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that the commissioner doesn't look at this and go, boy, it's Antonio Brown. Let me wrap this up. He's got to treat everybody the same. But it feels like it's just been kind of hanging out there. And that's why I was curious what the role of here you are, the president of the NFL Players Association, and if you even get involved in something like that. Or is it management that gets involved in this?
Well, that would be more probably a lawyer
Okay.
for us than me. I think Antonio would probably rather have the lawyer defend.
Is this your home?
Yeah.
It's kind of sparse there. I don't have any curtains. Like there's
We've got the pull down shades, blackout shades. So they're up high.
Okay.
Minimalist. That's what we went for.
Where's the paintings or posters or something?
We got two paintings over there, some books, a very a white out environment.
Do you have a weight room there?
I've got one down in the basement.
Oh, okay. By the way, but we had you on June 16th, and you and McLovin had a bet based off Cornell Dartmouth. Now that game is moved to the spring, I guess. So maybe you could attend.
I heard the sigh of relief when that announcement came out from McLovin. I heard that out loud when he got that news that he wouldn't have to face the wrath of Cornell.
Yes, McLovin.
Well, that's typical Cornell. Get an extension because you know you're not going to do well on a paper. That's something JC knows really well about.
Wow. Any response there, JC?
If they are going to play in the spring, I think I will have to make an appearance. I think that's the only way to do it.
McLovin?
Yeah, as long as I don't have to go to Ithaca in the spring. Oh.
Is there a good time to go to Ithaca, McLovin?
That's JC because I haven't been there.
There's about a month and a half window. If you get it right. It's the perfect weather.
Hey, great to talk to you again. My best to your father, who I know watches the show, and hopefully we got football starting here coming up soon. But thank you again, JC.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me.
That's JC Treader. He's the head of the NFL Players Association. He's the president in the Cleveland Browns Center. At Trash Talking, at Ivy League Trash Talk.
Yeah.
Wow, is that heated.
That's like Snoop Dogg and DMX going at it last night was right there.
A couple of phone calls in here. So it sounds like the players are cautiously optimistic, but they'd like a few more things before they report here by the end of the month. John in Washington. Hey, John, what do you have for me today?
Hey, Dan, 63200. Hey, going back to the most valuable Danette, I was wondering if McLovin's LeBron-like performance in the 2018 AAUAA comp gets a little recognition and gets him some brownie points there.
Wow. Okay. He was most valuable to his team and not to the show. There's a difference in that value. Yes, McLovin.
But we got a note from Stats Inc. that Ethan was on the team with Daryl Morey when they were keeping stats on their intramural league.
Yeah.
So Ethan's got some basketball chops too.
By the way, Ethan will be back on the show tomorrow, I'm being told.
Back on the show?
Yeah. Yeah.
You mean back supporting the show?
No, I think he supports the show, but I think he wanted to give one of the people that work underneath him an opportunity to shine for a day, being a team player that he is. But Ethan wanted to rest his back from carrying the show, and I said, you know what, take a day off. So when I say he'll be back on the show, it's his back will be back on the show because he's been carrying it.
It was weird because I was wondering why it's so easy for me to stay awake today. That's because I'm not being bombarded by stats.
Skip in Texas joins us. Hey, Skip, what do you have for me?
Hey, 6'3", 185. And I think it's going way to the positive, going with this MVD thing. We got to get back to the LVD. I think the Lifetime Achievement Award should go to Fritzy. But I also think that McLovin is right close.
Wow. Wow. Should we just scrap that? And thank you for the phone call, Skip. Should we just scrap most valuable Danette and just go to the least valuable Danette?
Keep it negative?
Yeah. Like, what's more entertaining? Do people want to hear who's the most valuable Danette or the least valuable Danette? Yes, McLovin.
Remember when you had that LVD of the month thing and
Yes,
you
I
lost
did.
all the photos except for
Well,
Todd?
you guys, I know, you guys were hiding your photos so you wouldn't be the winner or
I was
loser.
up there for like a year and a
I
half
know.
with a big smiling face, like, yeah, I'm the weakest link.
I think Ario found them. They're in the mail room. But I was looking for those pictures because each month I'd put up least valuable Danette. And Todd was up for a good 14 months, every single month, because I couldn't find anybody else's picture.
Not even a sad, disappointed face. I had this big, ridiculous grin, like I was just embracing it.
You remember the movie like Ernest Goes to Camp? Like you had that Ernest Goes to Camp look.
This cap on. And
Yeah.
kind
It's like when you walked into the supermarket and like the butcher was,
Yeah.
employee of the month. That's exactly.
I know. I love those pictures because I just said, "Hey, you guys got to take pictures. Just take it. I'll let you know what it's going to be for." And everybody had these corny pictures, and Todd's I loved. Least valuable Danette. I mean, we can do most valuable Danette if you want to. I don't know if anybody wants to hear something positive. I like least valuable Danette. You guys want to vote?
On who the least valuable is?
At the halfway point. How about this? At the halfway point of the season, who do the Danettes feel like is the most valuable Danette?
Mid-season MVP.
Mid-season. We'll take a break. So you got 5 minutes and 45 seconds to come up with an answer as we take a break here. Who is the least valuable and most valuable? And then if there's a tie, then I'll cast my vote. Fair enough, Todd?
Yes.
Now,
I hesitate.
Do we want
I
to
hesitate because it's so anti-camaraderie, and I know it's just for fun.
No,
but
it brings us all together to pick on one guy.
some of us are more sensitive than others, though. As we
How
know.
do you want to have a blind vote? Would you feel better about that?
Hey, come on.
No, we just
you
put it
have
in the
one
suggestion
bad eye.
box.
Paulie, you're blind in one eye.
My people.
You're not blind. You got one good eye. Do you guys want to do a blind vote on, or just want to do it where I just ask you?
You know, I like the anonymous suggestion box thing, so you know what I'm voting for.
Then we'll do it the other way. All right, we'll take a break here. Back after this. I think when I talked to you after you had been announced that you had made the Hall of Fame, that I said that you don't know what it's going to feel like. You can practice that speech, but until you get in the moment, you don't know how that emotion is going to affect you. And it almost felt like when you started to read it, deliver it, it started to sink in even deeper. That and it made you even more emotional in front of that crowd.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it was funny because I had done, Jimmy Kimmel the week before, and I went on the show and I said, "Look, I know I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry." And he said he sent me a text. It was funny the day before, and he said, "Real men cry at funerals and when they get inducted to the Baseball Hall of Fame, so don't worry." And it was really funny. No, you're right, and I think when you think about it, that just in my kind of theme, it was kind of, I had an unofficial theme, is that you do not go in alone. I mean, and when I think at the time, so many people helping me, and a lot of times you don't even recognize it. I mean, you don't. I told the story about Reggie Smith, and at the time I was young and I was immature and obviously disgruntled and wanted to quit the game, but he reached out and I said, the biggest lesson he taught me was not hitting, how to hit a baseball, but the game of life and not to quit. And that stuff is powerful, and it obviously affected my life immensely. From obviously from my father, the first contact with this game with my dad, and then on through the minors and mentioning EK and Fonzie and guys I play with now, and so that journey, which the response has been great. The people said, "Man, you took us on your journey, and it was really special." It was, yes, but it is a powerful thing, and I'm glad I was able to collect myself and not, cry all over the words.
How was that phone call from Johnny Bench?
It was awesome. No, it was really, really awesome, and I've already talked to Johnny a couple times and talked to Schmitty, and Schmitty's like, I don't want to bother you, but, maybe we could hit the ball, play some golf. I was like, Schmitty, my boyhood idols, bother me, you know what I mean? It's cute, and it's so much fun, and it's a great club. It's a great fraternity, and the guys, they treat you like gold, and they absolutely spoil us. I mean, when you get out of there, you're like, man, you feel like royalty, and it's a really special club, and the traditions are amazing, and I think the Hall did an amazing job, and personally I want to thank all the people that came out there. I mean, that's not an easy drive, obviously, from the city to get up there, and they really made the effort, and I'm just glad that they enjoyed the speech, very much.
No, I don't know.
Well, as you know, Dan, we launched this T-shirt yesterday on the news that the Blue Jays were going to Pittsburgh for a couple months. And it was selling like hotcakes. Absolute wildfire, taking the internet by storm.
Love that color.
Few people know that we had originally mocked up a Buffalo Blue Jays because that's where the rumor was that they were going. But then as soon as they announced Pittsburgh, we pivoted, as they say, and switched to that. Obviously now they're not going to Pittsburgh, so what we've done is mocked up City TBD, Blue Jays 2020. Yeah, so right now, actually, I think all three versions of that shirt, I believe, are available. If you want to purchase a Buffalo Blue Jays shirt,
you could
go
do
right ahead.
homeless.
Yeah.
Homeless Blue Jays.
Yeah, we could.
City TBD, that's
City
good.
TBD.
TBD. That's
Blue Jays 2020.
Hey, maybe there's a little tear because it's
Ooh, a little tear coming from the eye.
Yeah, because they're Blue Jays. They don't have a home.
Because they're sad.
They're feeling blue.
Sad Jays.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah.
Emerald. Dan,
The emerald,
green.
An emerald,
a shining
like Seattle's
a shining
hockey.
emerald right in the middle there.
What
that looks like it's
other
bright.
options would you have for emerald?
You know what? That's probably the one you have to go with.
Legacy.
We have the least valuable and most valuable Danette votes. Did you guys fill it out yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't filled mine out
Okay,
yet.
so you got two more to go. This is going to. Oh, this could tear.
The very
This could
fabric.
tear the very fabric. I always love the very fabric. Yes. No, I like opening them up. I got two more. Is this front row?
Oh, sorry, wait,
So
I got it.
Andy and then Seton.
Because you don't know the handwriting by now after all these years.
I'm not going to show the handwriting, but I'm going to announce, and I'm going to mix it up, and I'm going to jump up and down, and then Seton giving great thought to this. This is going to tear the very fabric.
At the very fabric of the foundation of this show.
Oh my God! Now I got to twist it like that. Yesterday, we came out with what we thought was a great idea for a T-shirt, the Pittsburgh Blue Jays, and then Pittsburgh ruined it by saying to the Blue Jays, you can't come to town. Then we have the Buffalo Blue Jays T-shirt that's already made up. And then Seton just gave us a new edition, another option. It would be City TBD Blue Jays. So those T-shirts are available on the website there. Great stuff. All of our T-shirts there. Great prices there, and you can go and you can order yours now. All right. This is something that could tear the very fabric of this show apart. I don't know if we've ever done mid-season least valuable, most valuable Danette, but I'm going to have the Danettes vote on one another. Okay. Now, anonymous vote. I thought that this made it a little bit more suspenseful, certainly if you're listening on radio, as I open up the card here. Here is our first selection. Most valuable Danette is Paul. Least valuable Danette is Todd. Most valuable Danette is McLovin. Least valuable Danette is Mario. All right. Didn't know Mario was eligible. Most valuable Danette, Paulie. Least valuable Danette, McLovin. And here is the final vote. The most valuable Danette, Paul. Least valuable Danette, McLovin. I have Paulie is at the halfway point, the most valuable Danette. He got 3 of 4 votes, which means maybe Paulie voted for himself. Okay.
I absolutely did.
Okay. Least valuable Danette, McLovin got 2 votes, Mario got 1, and Todd got 1. So the halfway point is Paulie, most valuable Danette. Least valuable Danette is McLovin. And I'm sure I'll hear from Ethan here really soon. Yes, Tom.
So if you're not either one, like according to these current stats, like Seton and I, we're just kind of journeymen, like we're this middle of the road.
Well, Seton didn't get a vote either way. You got a least valuable Danette.
Right, but if you don't win most or least, you're just kind of, you play for 9 different teams, you're middle of the road. You're there. You're not doing anything terrible. You're not doing anything particularly great either.
Anybody want to say who they voted for? Paulie voted for himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I voted for Todd for least valuable. I got to stay on brand, man. I was called nice earlier.
Shocker. Anybody else want to talk about their vote? Yes, you.
See, I put Paul as MVD, and then I put Andrew as LVD because I thought the choice was so obviously Todd that I just wanted to get Andrew's name in there.
Well, congratulations, McLovin.
I voted for Paulie for most, but now I feel like I got to.
Why would Todd vote
Now
for
that I know that
Paulie?
he voted for me least, I feel like
Shocking you would vote for Paulie.
Never standing up for Todd again.
Because if we did this where we were actually saying and not writing it down, and you said it, then I would go, okay, I understand why you would do it. This is anonymous, and
But I
you're
just
gonna,
admitted that.
I know.
So it's not anonymous anymore.
I know, not anonymous.
But now that I know Paulie voted me least, I don't know if I have to get that paper back and redo my whole thing.
How could you be surprised that Paulie voted you least valuable, Danette?
I think deep down, I'm just putting it out there. Deep down, I think he appreciates me and loves me very much, but it's not what he just wants the world to.
No, that was my vote. No, I stand by it. It was not to be mean.
This is separate from the vote. Just in general. I think there's a lot of love there. It's just he needs got to pull it out of him a little bit. The love, it's like a hidden love.
Just throw him a cookie, Paulie. Come on, just say something.
I like chocolate chip.
4 guests today.
Yep. Yeah, he did well.
Nice.
4 guests, Fritzy.
He's having a nice week.
At least 2 tomorrow.
If he adds 1 or 2 more tomorrow, oh boy, he's gonna.
So we're not there yet.
No.
Meet Friday and 2 guests. It's not weekend time yet.
No. But that's a possibility, a distinct possibility. Craig in Kentucky joins us. Hey, Craig, what do you have for me today?
Hey, Dan. 5'9", 193. I've been wanting to ask this question for a long, long time, so I'm very excited about the answer. If you had to pick each Danette for each one of these positions, who would you pick as your neighbor, your boss, your wingman, and who to back you up in a bar fight?
That's a lot, though, to unpack here, Craig. I don't know if I'm going to have time. So somebody I want with me in a bar fight, my neighbor, wingman, boss.
That's a good final hour poll question for everyone to weigh in on, not just yourself. I'd be curious.
Yeah, but
to
we
see
have 2 guests. You cluttered the last hour with 2 guests.
There's still room to do a poll question. That's why I'm the least valuable. I didn't have the forethought to realize there wouldn't be room for a poll question.
Kennedy in Kentucky. Hey, Kennedy.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
Good, sir. What's on your mind?
Just wanted to give a shout out. I think Mario is clearly the MIP. I mean, I think he went from delivering lunch or breakfast to now he's got his own little segment during the off camera. So MIP, clearly Mario.
Okay, so the most improved is Ario. Well, yeah,
he's the most promoted.
Yeah, yeah. Like Tyler, I think Tyler went from smoking cigarettes to now being the moderator of Chat Row.
What do you do here, Tyler? I smoke cigarettes.
Paulie goes, I don't know. That's Tyler. If you're watching, Tyler. Paulie got Tyler to quit smoking by saying you can host Chat Row. So Tyler, the moderator. Paulie goes, what does Tyler do? I said, I don't know. He goes, I think he just smokes cigarettes.
But all day, every day.
He's really good at it. All right, final hour coming up. How long have you known Terry Francona?
Oh man, I've known Tito a long time. You know, back to when I first broke into the big leagues when he was with the Phillies, and you know Brad Mills too was his bench coach then, and then playing for him in 2008. You know, we always had a mutual admiration for each other just because we're both from Pittsburgh, growing up, and you know then I played with him in 2008, and he's one of a kind. Absolutely one of a kind, you know, personality in the game.
What's your favorite story?
You know what? You know, he's just a funny dude. And in 2008, when I was with Boston, you know, when you hit the ball off the monster, sometimes you don't know, like, you know, if you can make it to second or not. And for me, it was always an adventure. So, you know, I hit one to left center one time, and I'm going to second, and I get thrown out from the monster, right? So I'm like, it's not that big a deal. Like, left field, the guy got me at second, no big deal. And then, so my next at-bat, I hit a missile in the right center gap, right? And not the left center, right center, bullet in the gap. It ends up hitting the top of the fence. So I'm like, I thought it was a homer, but I wasn't, like, pimping it or anything. I was still running, you know, decent, you know, for me, decent, like, not good. Slow. So I'm rounding first. I'm like, oh, that's a homer. Hits the top of the fence, and Nick Markakis goes into the gap for the Orioles, and he barehands it off the wall. Like, so it bounces back to me, barehands it off the wall, comes in throwing, and I'm just like, you know, going as quick as I can. I'm like, oh my gosh, I get thrown out from right center right here. So I slide in. I'm out by like 10 feet. Like, it was really bad. And the crowd's booing me, and I'm like, oh man, this is not good. So I get in the dugout. I'm like, that's ridiculous. I got thrown out right there. So I go to put my helmet away, and Tito's like, hey Case, can I talk to you real quick? And I'm like, yeah, man, what's up? He's like, listen. He's like, I think you might want to check some out. I don't know. Do you think you might have polio? And I was like, and I was like, oh, you know what? I didn't never thought that, but maybe I might need to check that out because I've never done that. I've never been thrown out from right center before, you know.
What's up, everybody? Marvin Prince here. Thank you so much to everybody in the emails for the interaction. Got a couple up right here from Matthew in Covington, Louisiana. He says regarding the Blue Jays, they should play in Omaha, Nebraska, where the College World Series is played. All right. Got another one from Ty. Dan, Toronto should approach the city of Toledo, Ohio. Oh, hey, Dan. About using the Mud Hens facility. It's a high-quality International League ballpark and geographically a good location for their schedule. I mean, Ohio's not near New York or Boston or Baltimore, but all right. And Durham Bulls Ballpark is open in downtown Durham. It's actually pretty nice there, and they've done everything in the last decade. Durham Blue Jays, question mark? Nah, I'm going with the Hartford Blue Jays or Connecticut Blue Jays or New England Blue Jays. Let's go the urban metropolis that is Hartford, Connecticut. Toronto, please, Blue Jays, come join us. You can hang out with us. That's all I got. Hey, Mario, clean all these papers up. I'm out.
Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work. The new innovation from MLB will allow fans to cheer or boo in their app. The ballpark staff then can match that up with the volume in the stadium.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show, where much like Major League Baseball, we too are innovating the fan experience.
I'm not going to judge you. I would not.
During an interview with one of the biggest guests or newsmakers, simply press the button on your phone to react.
If you want to boo,
press 1.
Boo!
To laugh, press 2. And to play Mary Had a Little Lamb, press 1 2 3 2 1 1 1 2 2 2 1 0 0.
Idiot.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave. This is Dan Patrick.
Final hour on this Thursday, Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. We somehow survived at the end of last hour where we decided who was the most valuable Danette at the halfway point of the season and the least valuable Danette. Paulie, the most valuable Danette, least valuable is Fritzy. Coming up, we'll talk to Aaron Gordon, the Orlando Magic forward. I don't know how far he lives from the bubble, but got to be interesting that you're at home, but you're not at home, and you're in the bubble. So we'll talk to Aaron Gordon. He'll join us coming up. Also, we'll check in with Rick Sutcliffe, works for the Mothership. They're great baseball analyst, former Cy Young winner. We have baseball coming up tonight. We're still waiting to hear from Major League Baseball. The deadline is first pitch tonight. We'll know how many playoff teams there are. Yes, we don't know yet. They're talking about 10, as it has always been, or has been recently, to maybe 16 teams, so you'd have 8 from each league in the playoffs. Big revenue boost if you go from 10 to 16 playoff teams. Also, the Toronto Blue Jays are still looking for a home. This is what I've learned. This is what I know. Obviously, it's not going to happen in Pittsburgh. The other options are going to be Baltimore, also Buffalo, their minor league facility. They could also end up at their spring training home in Dunedin, or they could just be on the road for the entire season. And when they're playing a home game on the road, they would be batting last in those games. Those are the possibilities. But, hey, we got plenty of time. Figure that out, right? 877-3DP-SHOW, email address dp@danpatrick.com, Twitter handle at DP Show. Say good morning to our radio lineup. Fox Sports Radio lineup, numbering 362 cities around the country, and youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. He's not only a great player, great dunker, great actor. He was in Uncle Drew. He's Aaron Gordon, the Orlando Magic forward, kind enough to join us. Aaron, good morning. How far is your house from the bubble?
This is Dan Patrick. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me on the show. My house is... Wow, we actually looked it up. We went on, used the iPhone, we used the app, the navigation app. I'm 12 minutes from my house.
How weird is it that you're in Orlando and you can't go home being in the bubble?
It's pretty weird. The worst part about it is I can't go home and see my dog.
Wait, you couldn't bring the dog to the bubble?
I thought that would have been a great mascot to have the Rottweiler, named Magic. I figured I'd just let him loose on the campus and just have him run around and intimidate the other players. But I guess they didn't really want that to happen.
But people have those comfort dogs when they go on a plane. Couldn't you have said to the commissioner? Couldn't you have petitioned to say, he's my comfort dog?
Oh, he's definitely an emotional support animal. I got his papers and everything. So, had he bit one of the other players, would have made me much more emotionally stable.
What is the biggest adjustment so far for you?
I guess it's just being away from the family and, not physically having your family members and friends in the crowd cheering for you. The crowd, it just isn't there, so it's very quiet in in the gym when you're playing. Like you can hear a pin drop when you're on the free throw line.
But also, I'm wondering about this, Aaron. I'm being serious that the language that's going to be on display, we're going to hear everything. I don't know if it's going to be on a 7-second delay where TV can bleep out something. Are you guys aware of this? Have been told about, watch what you say during these games?
I think they're doing I'm not sure if we're mic'd up or not. I think it would be actually hilarious if they let you guys hear everything that consists in an NBA game and like almost all the trash talking. I think that would be
But what would I hear that might surprise me? What's the best exchange you've heard since you've been in the league that we would be entertained by?
Oh man, who's one of the best trash talkers is Draymond Green. He does it night in and night out. And we were playing. This was back in Orlando, so this was before the bubble. And we were talking, and I think the refs called a travel on me. And I was like, no, I didn't travel. That's not. I just don't do that. You know what I mean? That's just not something I do. I've never traveled in my whole life.
Not.
I don't know what the refs are talking about. Draymond was like, "Oh, you just do everything perfect, huh?" And I was like, "Yep, that's right. That's damn right. I do everything perfect. I'm nice out here." And he was like, "Yeah, you do everything perfect, but when?" And I was like, "Oh." I was like, oh, okay. I see how we're coming.
I would like to see Draymond Green on this year on a team that wasn't any good. And does he still talk trash when his team isn't any good?
We didn't play him. I definitely would have. And he's a friend of mine, So I definitely would have gave him, some of that. I would have dished some of that back if we played him. I think he was out the game that we played, though.
Who's the MVP this year, in your opinion?
And that's a good question. It goes between LeBron and Giannis, definitely. I think I'm gonna go with LeBron, though. I think the Bucks are just a better overall team. I think obviously with the Lakers having AD, Danny Green, and a couple other pieces, they're a really, really good team. But if you take those two guys out, I think the Bucks probably win more games.
What's it like to guard LeBron?
Man, well, it's a fun task. It's definitely challenging. His natural feel for the game, his IQ is just through the roof when it comes to in between those lines. So, what makes him so challenging is his passing ability, and people don't understand. Like, he's one of the best passers in the game. And if you cut him off one way or cut him off two ways, he finds the open man and hits him right in the shooting pocket. So, he didn't score a lot the last time we played against him, but he had like 17 assists or something like that.
Is he a trash talker?
A little bit. Bronda, he does chirp a little bit if you talk to him. But I was raised with the quote, "Let sleeping dogs lie."
Yes.
And that's kind of like as true as it comes with LeBron. As long as you don't say really much to him, he won't say too much to you.
But I look at Anthony Davis, and I don't know if you can make this argument. I think LeBron is the league MVP as far as business goes. Like, he's the draw. He's the face of the NBA. I think the Greek Freak's going to win comfortably, and I also think he's going to be Defensive Player of the Year. But Anthony Davis might be more valuable to the Lakers because it feels like, he's their scorer and their rebounder and the guy who's blocking shots. Can you see that AD might be more valuable to the Lakers than LeBron is?
I wouldn't say more valuable, just for, face value, like what you're talking about. And just as far as leadership goes. But AD is definitely is the spark of that team.
Who's tougher to guard, AD or the Greek Freak?
Man, that's a tough one. The Greek Freak is incredibly difficult to guard, just because he's so relentless on the court. He's one of those guys that if he misses one shot or he misses two shots, misses three shots, he's shooting that fourth shot, and he's really always on attack mode. So the Greek Freak is Giannis is really hard to guard. But, there's a lot of ball players. AD is tough to guard too, man. That's no knock on AD. I just haven't had the task of guarding him as much.
How do you feel about your chances in the bubble, your team?
I feel really good. I feel really good about it. We're a couple of guys down still, between Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac and Al-Farouq Aminu. Hopefully we can get 2 of those 3 guys back, get Mo Bamba some more playing time and get him in a better rhythm. But, I feel like because everybody was off for so long, we're all starting from the same kind of, start point. So I feel really good about our chances. I think we can possibly get up to 7th seed and then get into the second round, and then who knows from there.
Did you actually dress up as Aaron Judge for Halloween?
Oh yeah, that was crucial, man. That was very crucial. I was getting Aaron Judge comparisons all the time. Even in New York, they would come up to me and be like, "Hey, I know you. You play for the Yankees, right?" And Aaron Judge. I was like, "No, that's a different Aaron." And they're like, "Oh," and they kind of step back for a second, and then they come back in. They're like, "Oh, Aaron Gordon." It's like, yeah, okay, wrong, right, Aaron. Wrong last name.
Well, you guys are both the same size, and you do look a lot alike.
No, I agree with you. He's a Cali kid too, man. So, yeah, maybe one day we can do like a commercial or something together.
Have you met him?
No, not in person. We've just had brief exchanges over social media.
Oh, yeah, you guys got to get together. He looks like he weighs more than you do.
I'm not 100% sure. I think I might be a couple inches taller. He might be a couple pounds heavier.
Well, wait, what are you, 6'8"?
Yeah, about that.
Well, Judge is what, 6'6", 6'7"?
Yeah, about 6'8", 6'7". He's a big boy to be playing baseball. I mean, he could play power forward in the NBA if he wanted to.
I'm looking at the picture, and if I didn't know better, if that was the Yankee locker room, I would swear that that's Aaron Judge. Absolutely, absolutely.
If that was really the Yankees locker room, and that was really Aaron Judge, the Yankees would be a far worse baseball team.
Did you play baseball?
No, I didn't. It was a little too slow for me.
Yeah. Well, also, weren't you a great sprinter?
Yeah. So I did track and field, played ice hockey, volleyball, soccer, football, cross country. Pretty much the works, except for America's pastime.
Yeah, but I'm looking back. Like when you were young, you were like a junior Olympian. Is that about right?
Yeah. So I was going to the Junior Olympics in Oregon. So we were on the way. I had qualified to go. A chance for a gold medal, but we had a local basketball tournament, and I decided to go to the local basketball tournament instead. And I guess that just kind of told me, where my passion, where my heart really was, where it resided.
Yeah. Is there a sequel to Uncle Drew in the works?
Man, I hope so. I hope it's like Uncle Casper or something like that. And then bring it right back around. Or Uncle Drew too. I'm not sure, man. I know Kyrie's working on a lot of different projects right now, and especially with all of the, just kind of political strife and social injustice going on in the world. On one hand, it would be nice to have another comedy and family-friendly movie, but I think there's a lot of things that need to be addressed in films and documentaries on the social justice side. So, hopefully we can do it again. But, if not, it's okay too.
Who was the best actor on set?
Man, I think either Kyrie or Chris Webber, Preacher. C-Web was definitely one of the best on set.
I loved Webber's hair. Oh, it was so good. But you're right. Kyrie was a great actor. That role was really well done with Kyrie. But we were talking about this morning, the fact you were going to be on, and I said, C. Webb is a sneaky, great role by him. He was great as the preacher.
Yeah, we're definitely in agreement, man. He locked in for that for sure.
And also, wasn't that on set where Kyrie found out that he was being traded?
Yeah, it really was. It was after a scene, you know, and he was really excited. Actually, he was running around, bouncing off walls. You know, he was fired up.
Well, it's good to talk to you. Good luck there in the bubble, and thanks for joining us as always.
Hey, thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
All right, that's Aaron Gordon. He did really well in Uncle Drew. You know, Reggie to me kind of acted like Reggie. Shaq was Shaq. C. Webb, I thought, was doing some acting, and Kyrie was really good as Uncle Drew. I imagine that they'll do a sequel there. All right. We're waiting. Seattle's NHL team, they're going to announce their nickname coming up at the top of next. So 45 minutes from now, they're going to announce it. I guess it's Sockeyes, Kraken,
a little salmon,
and Emeralds. I guess there's others involved, but they're going to announce that coming up at the top of next hour. Dylan in Washington on that topic. Hi, Dylan. What do you have for me?
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Dan Etz, first time, long time, 5'10", 170. So I grew up in North Seattle. We had a couple junior major teams, Everett Silvertips and Seattle Thunderbirds. And I'm kind of disappointed in the options right now, actually. In 1917, I think it was Seattle Metropolitans, first American team on the Stanley Cup. So I'm hoping for the Metropolitans. But we got Kraken. Kind of curious what you guys' takes on those names and any names that you think about the Metropolitans.
Yeah, I don't know about that, the Metropolitans, because that, you know, I always think of the Mets. And it's a long word, the Metropolitans. Can you see if the Metropolitan Grill is still there in Seattle? Isn't that the place that I went to where my life changed, where I had that king salmon? There's a salmon that's available only a couple of weeks out of the year. And I went there during the NBA Finals with Seattle and Chicago Bulls. And the Metropolitan Grill. Yeah, Paulie?
Yeah, they're still open. Not now at this time of
they're
day,
not.
but
okay.
Want to check the menu?
See what they have with the salmon, because
Tonight's specials, did you want, or just the overall menu?
The overall menu. Wait, what do they have with the salmon there?
Checking.
Because they had Red Hook on tap. And I had salmon.
Copper River salmon?
Copper River salmon. There it is.
They have grilled king salmon.
No, this Copper River salmon was, because I walked in there, because I was there for the mothership covering the NBA Finals. And I walk in, I'm by myself. I sit down. Guy comes over. You know, the waiters, all men. And I said, what do I want? And he said, you want the Copper River salmon. I said, okay. And I said, I'll have the Red Hook on tap, please. And then that was it. So then finished it. And he said, anything else? I said, I'll have another Red Hook and another Copper River salmon. I had 2 orders of it. And I tried to eat there every single day that I was in Seattle. It was great. But that Copper River salmon, it's like a 6-week period, I think, there. Yeah, see.
We should take a trip out.
There's a lot of places we should take a trip out to.
Let's go to Seattle for some salmon.
Just go out for a day and come back?
Well, I don't know, maybe a long weekend.
Oh, all right. Well,
they have a lovely vegan bolognese on the specials today.
I would try that too. I would try the vegan bolognese. But the Metropolitan Grill was great. I don't know. The Emeralds, I like the look of it with green. The Supersonics had green in it, so maybe you could bring that color. It's not intimidating to say, hey, we're the Emeralds. But, you might say that about some other teams you might face in the NHL. But I think the green itself, maybe you bring back the Seattle Supersonics colors. We'll take a break. More phone calls coming up. We will talk to Rick Sutcliffe from the mothership. What's he think of Mookie Betts' deal with the Dodgers? Smart investment there. And what's he make of his sport not knowing how many playoff teams? They got time. They've got like 70 days before they have to start the postseason, but it'd be nice, knowing here in a couple hours before you start the season. So we'll talk to Rick Sutcliffe, former Cy Young winner. He'll join us coming up next, right here on the Dan Patrick Show. Any issues with Watchdog?
No, I mean, seriously, people have affinity for their pets, and why would you not want to carry it around on your wrist? And you could repurpose that same watch face for your phone. You could use it other places. You could record, when you record your dog, like you said, for an alarm, you could repurpose it. I mean, it'd be almost like, a photo shop destination for people for their pets. I mean, I could see a real community being formed.
Have you ever run your own business before, Professor?
Shortly, briefly.
Briefly.
That's, so that's why I got my 3rd doctorate and my 4th master's and decided to go teach at Harvard.
It sounds like there's a Dallas accent, though, with your...
No, never.
Mark Cuban of the Dallas Mavericks. All right, you had me. You had me a little bit in the beginning. It's when Paulie struggled to tell me your name, and I thought, wait, he's making up the name as we go along. Mark Bloomington, and I went...
Yeah, the Bloomington kind of gave it away.
Okay, so what do you think?
It's already being done. The hard part would be doing the watch hands. Like if you tried to do like the watch hands as the pause, that would be difficult. But otherwise, I mean, you could just get an Apple Watch and download whatever face you want to it, or it's being done a lot. So it's such a good idea. It's already being done.
Okay, I got another one.
Okay, fire away.
Bible belts.
Bible belts.
So you have belts with Psalms on them. So you have Bible verses on.
I like it. You just put little buttons on it, and whatever mood you're in, or whenever you need motivation, or you need some spiritual support, you just hit a button on your belt.
What do you think?
I like it.
Okay,
I like it because you know how you can get like greeting cards now when you open them, they play different songs.
Yeah,
that's what you do. You just pre-record them and you just press a little button. Now they fritz out really quickly, right? Because who knows where your belt goes, and you drop it on the floor and everything. But you could sell some, particularly use them as fundraisers for churches.
But what if I did it where I put the actual verse on the belt?
That's harder because it's hard to read when you're wearing it.
Oh.
And then, if somebody else started to read it. But what would be cool along those same lines? Like favorite moments from your favorite sports team's history.
And you were able to press a button?
Yeah, and you'd hear it. Dirk takes it to the hoop, over pass, or last, from the game this week for the home run with Bradley, and there's that I can see happen. Just press a button right on your belt, and bam, you're all of a sudden in a better mood.
What's the one pitch you heard, the elevator pitch on Shark Tank, where you said, "I got to have that. I got to be involved in that"?
Hi, I'm Mario, and I'm trying my best. So a lot of fallout from the most valuable Danette, least valuable Danette conversation. So we got a bunch of response on social media. I'm going to read you some of those. A bunch of people, first off, I'm going to start off calling for me for least valuable Danette. I'm not eligible, so joke's on you. And then I saw on Chat Row, Tyler, the moderator, calling for Chat Row to be most valuable Danette. Joke's on him because they're not eligible neither, and they wouldn't be either way. So what else we got? Jack Tyrone on Twitter, he wanted to say, are we really going to ignore the fact that the same guy that said Paulie was nice also said Fritzy was funny? Yeah, like they did kind of overpass that and didn't acknowledge that at all. Next up, Dennis on Twitter, he wanted negativity only, so he just wanted to do at least valuable Danette. Some people don't want to put any smiles on anybody's faces, apparently. So what else we got? Gregory Hooten. He said, so C and Fritzy are the scrappy utility players. No team can be without them. It's a nice little compliment for them too. What else we got? We got Kevin. Kevin said, and the only reason I'm reading this is because Andrew voted me least valuable Danette. So Kevin said, you finally got one right. Andrew Perloff as least valuable is a slam dunk. Yeah, I agree, Andrew. In your face. I'm Mario, and that's me trying my best.
More phone calls coming up. By the way, we did crown a least valuable and most valuable Danette. Halfway point of the season. Paulie is your most valuable Danette. Fritzy is your least valuable Danette. A lot of write-in votes here. Mario got some write-in votes. Chat Row did. Marvin did. So right now, halfway point, but it was about Danettes, the least valuable and most valuable Danette. He's ESPN baseball analyst. He won the Cy Young back in 1984, and boy, does he remind you all the time about that. He's Rick Sutcliffe, who joins us on loan for the Mothership on the call for the Braves Mets on ESPN Friday at 4 Eastern. And, you got some company there, Rick. Who do you have?
Dano, I thought you might want to meet an Oriole fan.
Oh, that's the Oriole fan we've been looking for. We found the Oriole fan, and that's a great hat.
Thank you. What's going on, buddy?
Is this your grandson?
It is. This is my grandson, Ryder. As you know, the Little League Baseball got canceled. So he's really excited about opening day, and he just wanted to say hello, and now he's off to camp for golf school.
All right. See you, Ryder.
See ya. Bye-bye. Hey, before we get started. Yeah, I need our boy Todd Fritz to apologize, Dan.
To you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Yesterday he sent me a text wanting to know if opening day I was going to be on ESPN or ESPN Radio. Dan, this is 24 years with ESPN. I don't do radio. People that look like you and Boog Shambi and others, as you got older, ESPN said, hey, this Sports Center thing, it just doesn't look the same. So if Todd will apologize, I'll move on with the show.
Well, wait a minute. Then you have to apologize to me because you just kind of called me ugly and that I have a face for radio there. So, Todd, you don't have to apologize.
I feel like I do.
No.
The guy's a Rookie of the Year, a Cy Young winner. I know he took a shot at you,
Who
but he feels like I
cares?
dissed him because I just wanted to make sure for your notes that it was an ESPN, not an ESPN radio broadcast.
Hey, Dan, as I look at you, I think about one of the first interviews I did for ESPN. It was with Mike Piazza. And I'm sitting there, and Mike and I had gotten close on the Nike baseball trip, and he started ragging on me a little bit. And I said, hey, you better back off. I go, I broke my rule of thumb doing this interview with you. And he goes, what's your rule? And I go, I don't normally interview people better looking than me. And he goes, who do you talk to?
Yeah, it's a short list of those guys that you can't interview.
Yeah, that got me off to a great start. When you came on Sports Center after an opening day, I had retired. A bunch of my friends had wanted to go to opening day and sit in the bleachers at Wrigley. So we did. And that was the year Ryan Sandberg came out of retirement. And you might remember this, Dan, but we go over to Murphy's Bleacher Bar after the game. We're all partying and everything. And they holler, they go, hey, Sports Center's starting off at Wrigley Field. We run back in, and there you are showing the highlights, Sandberg hitting a double in the gap. And your comment was 2 former Cub greats returned to Wrigley. Sandberg hitting a double, and me with a beer that was about that.
You didn't get cheated across the street from Wrigley, did you? Did you ever pay a tab at Murphy's?
No,
I didn't
never
think so.
did.
I didn't
And as you know, Jim Murphy gave me the apartment upstairs. And it all came about because towards the end of '84, the Cubs were going crazy. After a game, I just wanted to go have a beer somewhere. And the clubhouse kid and I tried to walk across the street, and the city was so Cub crazy at that time that I couldn't even get into the bar. And the following day, Jim Murphy, a former Chicago policeman, was waiting on me, and he said, "Please give me another chance." And he moved all of the liquor from up on the second floor. He created an apartment. He gave it to me. And as you remember, during the World Series, a couple of those parties were as good as it gets.
I saw or heard where Mark Grace took a shot at you during a Diamondbacks broadcast. Did you get word of what your former teammate had to say?
Oh, did I get word? In the past it would have been like a phone call, but with this Twitter thing now, it just went crazy. Gracie, we love him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of our favorites. Yeah. You know that he's like a son to me. Yesterday on the Marquee Sports Network, the new Cubs channel, somebody hit a long home run. I haven't seen it yet. I've just heard. And Gracie goes, "Wow, that reminds me of some of them that Sutcliffe used to give up." Yeah.
Who hit the deepest home run off of you?
The longest probably, it was during spring training, but there were two of them. One, Dave Kingman hit one down in St. Pete in that ballpark that was actually, we don't know if it was fair or foul. It landed in the water, which is like maybe 600 feet away. The one that I remember, as you say, was at Shea Stadium, back when it was Shea. Kevin McReynolds hit a bomb off the facing of the upper deck. And the ball hit so hard that it bounced back, and our shortstop, Sean Dunston, picked it up. And for some reason, I'd never done this, but when he hit it, I screamed. I went, "Whoa!" Like, I couldn't believe it. And as I turned back to look at home, I thought he'd be standing there watching it. No, he was almost to second base, like it was no big deal.
We're talking to Rick Sutcliffe. He'll be on the call Braves-Mets on Friday at 4 Eastern. What's baseball going to do with the Blue Jays here, son?
They're supposed to know before the first pitch is thrown. You would have thought, Dan, and I know you've probably talked about this, that was the ideal situation to social distance and kind of keep people away with the hotel that they have there and everything going on. It's a different day and age. I don't know the answer to that. I will tell you this. I'm about as excited to do a baseball game tomorrow, maybe as I've ever been. As you know, I was blessed to be a part of 9 opening days. This one's different. But I tell you what, I go back a month ago to watching live golf on TV. I didn't tape it. I watched it live all 4 days. It was so exciting to have a sporting event I didn't know the outcome to. I know that it's going to be different. I know that you're not going to have a crowd. The noise when we did that summer camp game on Sunday with the Cubs and the White Sox was kind of weird. But I'm excited. I'm thrilled that baseball is trying to come back.
Yeah, I'm watching the broadcast and the Cubs and the White Sox, and I'm okay if I don't want crowd noise pumped in. But if it's going to be, then fine. What are ESPN's plans with throwing in some crowd noise there?
That's a great question. We've got a big meeting in the morning to go over a lot of that. Talking with a lot of the players, particularly with the Cubs, after the game on Sunday, there's a lot of players that want that crowd noise. And I'll tell you, the main reason that I think of, Dan, you know how, a pitcher will knock a guy down. And you know what that dugout's like. There'll be people chirping.
Yeah.
They'll be, hey, knock me down, or whatever they might say. Well, you could say that in the past because nobody could hear you. Now they're going to hear everything that you say. I just think that, the number one thing that the crowd did was it took that self-motivating factor out of it. Showing up every day at Wrigley Field was easy to go out there and leave everything on the field. I go back to before I got traded to the Cubs when I played for Cleveland. There were a lot of times that literally you could hear the guy banging on the drum. You could hear the announcers and what they were saying. I know what it's like to play in an empty stadium. And as you remember, we've talked about it. Playing for the Indians back in the early 80s is where the movie Major League came from. There's a lot of truth to what goes on in that story.
You're not portrayed in that movie, are you?
You know what? I'm not. I was not the Wild Thing. Mitch Williams came along after that. I might have been that crafty old guy that had Vaseline.
Did you ever load up a pitch?
I never loaded up a pitch. I will tell you this, though. You watch these guys now, and a guy will hit a fly ball or hit a ground ball, and it'll come back, and the pitcher will look at it, and it'll have a scuff on it, and they throw it out. Dan, I would still be pitching today if I could throw a baseball with a scuff on it. You know what it's like. You put that scuff on this side, it's going to take off that way. You do it the other way. I got a lot of outs on baseballs that had scuffs on them. I never scuffed it, but I knew what to do when I had one.
What do you think of the Mookie Betts deal with the Dodgers? From the Dodgers' perspective, is this a great deal?
It's a great deal. And it's a great deal for a lot of reasons. And the number one for me is, Dan, the type of person that Mookie is. That contagious joy that he brings to the ballpark every night. He's one of those guys that doesn't have to get a hit to be the MVP of the game. I never saw anybody play right field at Fenway Park like he's done. It doesn't matter where you put him. I applaud what Andrew Friedman has done there. You know, there's been a lot of guys. He didn't go out and get a lot of the other guys. He could have had Harper or Machado. They had the money to go get everybody. I think he found the perfect fit to fit into that ball club. And when you think about how long he's going to be there, we could be talking about multiple championships.
Now, you're going to do the Braves Mets, but you're going to do that from home?
Yes. Yeah.
Just the communication and the rapport. And I know you're working with people you worked with before, but just trying not to step on each other during a broadcast has to be pretty challenging.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think we have that figured out yet. I think that is going to be the number one issue. I have worked with Boog Sciambi forever. We've never worked with Chipper Jones before. This is the first year that Chipper will be doing this. There will be some times, I'm sure, when we walk on each other, and we'll continue to try to get better at that. But I'll just give you one situation. You were listening. We did the White Sox Cubs game on Sunday. We had Anthony Rizzo on for an inning. And stuff that Chipper Jones is going to bring to our telecast that nobody else has probably ever brought. Anthony Rizzo talking about in Miami going down, sneaking down with his dad to the third base side to yell, Larry, Larry, Larry. And then years later, Rizzo's playing first base for the Padres. Chipper gets a single. They're standing there. And Rizzo's just looking at him laughing. And Chipper, Chipper's telling the story. Rizzo's telling the story. He's laughing, and Rizzo tells him while he's on first base what he and his dad used to do. I mean, it's inside things like that I'm really excited about, being with Chipper for this. Even though it's 60 games, I'm excited to have an opportunity to do that.
It's pretty amazing to see the bookshelf. You know, a lot of people come on and they got all kinds of trophies, and but you're a minimalist. You don't have any of your trophies there behind you, do you, Sut?
Let me tell you something. My pride and joy right now are my two grandkids, Dano.
I'd still rather have an MVP or a World Series title,
You can look behind Chipper tomorrow and see all of that crap.
I saw him on Sunday night. It was like, Chipper brought out the hardware just to remind people. Yeah, Hall of Famer. Yeah, it's a pretty decorated career.
I would do that. I could decorate first of all my stuff's back in Kansas City. But the problem is when, I put up that Cy Young, everybody always throws a date with that. And when you hear 1984, a lot of kids just shake their heads like, what?
Wow. You're old. We'll be watching on Friday, Sut. Great to talk to you as always, and our best to Boogs and Chipper.
You know what? It's a different year, Dano. It's a different schedule. We've got different rules, but as you know, and you talk about it all the time, it's the same goal. Everybody wants to win that World Series, and I love what David Ross said the other night. He said, if they're giving out a ring, I want one. So. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Anytime, anything, anywhere. You know that, buddy.
Thank you, bud. That's Rick Sutcliffe, ESPN baseball analyst and Cy Young winner, also Rookie of the Year as well. You want to be with Sut when he's out because he doesn't get cheated. And therefore, by proxy, you don't get cheated either. He'd be one of my he's an ace of my staff, let's put it that way. And still, the Pied Piper when he walks into a bar in Chicago. Absolutely. Let me see. Deborah in Colorado joins us. Hey, Deborah, what do you have for me today?
Hi, Dan.
Hi.
first time, long time, and a proud Fritzy scoreboard winner. I just wanted to ask the question, how is Toronto not allowing the Jaybirds to play there? However, they are being the hub host for the whole Eastern Conference NHL.
Well, I think those are teams that are in there and not leaving, and they didn't want teams that are coming and going over the border, Deborah. But thank you for the phone call. But, yeah, by all appearances, the NHL's done a good job in creating their own hockey bubble, but the government didn't want teams going back and forth across the border into Toronto. We'll take a break. More phone calls coming up on the program. Last call. What we learn, what's in store tomorrow, all of that coming up next here on The Dan Patrick Show. He's Dave Roberts, the Dodgers manager, and got the Brewers Game 1 coming up on Friday night, National League Championship Series. Congratulations so far. How are you, Skip?
Dan, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. We were looking back on your career, and I didn't realize that you were a pretty good quarterback coming out of high school. How good were you?
I was actually, before I had my ACL reconstruction, spring practice my sophomore year, I was a better football player than I was a baseball player. Jamel Holloway, old Oklahoma Barry Switzer option quarterback, that was my guy. So that's who I kind of emulated.
Biggest offer came from who?
Air Force Academy.
And how close were you going?
Fisher to Barry.
Oh, that was a great coach.
I actually did my senior speech in June. I had my appointment. And so I was all set to go. And then come July, I pivoted and decided I didn't want to play football or go to the Air Force Academy. So then my search to play college baseball began in July.
But you walked on at UCLA, didn't you?
I did, because I got accepted to UC Berkeley. So in the UC system, since I got accepted to the UC system, it allowed me to get accepted into UCLA. And at that point in time, when you're looking at July and August and the school starts in September, obviously the scholarships are already kind of already set in stone. And so Gary Adams allowed me to be a recruited walk-on, got me into school, and I made the club.
Was D. Dallas at Air Force Academy when you were going there?
He was number 6, yes, sir.
You were not going to beat out D. Dallas.
I was not going to beat him out, but I was in the same conversation though, Dan.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
All right, congratulations to J.P. Jones in Indiana. J.P. Jones in Hoosierland. He guessed today's scoreboard. For number 6, the clue is first-rate performance, first-rate forearms at first base. And that, my friends, would be Steve Garvey. Because on this date in 1974, Dodgers first baseman Steve Garvey, who wore uniform number 6, named All-Star Game MVP. So 6 is Steve Garvey. 56, the clue is first-rate performance in Second City. On this day in 1989, this happened.
Alexei! Yes! 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 History!
Yeah, no, I appreciate the cue. So there you go. On this day in 1989, White Sox pitcher Mark Buehrle, who wears, as you saw, jersey number 56, perfect game at home against the Rays. Steve Garvey, Mark Buehrle, All-Star Game MVP, perfect game for Mark Buehrle. Their jersey numbers 6 and 56. JP in Indiana, congratulations. Yes.
When did Mark Burley throw his no-hitter?
I hope it's today.
What year?
I've got 1989.
No.
That's not right?
Not even close.
That would have been a long time ago.
So.
But it was on this day. And why do I have 1989?
Possible.
Did he
What the
throw a
hell?
no-hitter when he was 10 years
That
old?
was a perfect game against the Rays. I don't think it was when he was 10 years old.
But we don't know it wasn't.
Now I got.
1989?
You know how little leaguers play and they have the
1989, I got to ESPN.
We still had a winner somehow.
Mark Burley's.
Well, people are trying to figure out what you mean to say and what
Okay.
is real.
Let's
Mark
find
Burley's
out.
only 41 years old.
We're going to find out.
Mark Burley's got to be the youngest pitcher to ever throw a perfect game.
He's
like 10.
His rookie year was 2000. So
You know what? July 23rd, 2009. That would be 20 years.
Oh, you
20
almost
years.
got it right, Todd.
We had him on the show right after.
Yeah, we did.
I remember.
And once
specific-
again, the least valuable, Danette, goes to
Of
Todd
all the
Fritz.
things I saw happening with the snoreboard, it
How'd the
wasn't
day
Todd's
went?
it's like shockingly inaccurate information.
I had him 20
I did not
years
see that
earlier.
coming
As a running
as
bit?
a running bit.
So he was 30, not 10.
Right.
Scherzer against Garrett Cole, Johnny Cueto, Clayton Kershaw. Hopefully they get the Nationals game in. There is a chance of rain. But then there's a chance that it won't rain. Once again, Todd keeping his streak up of screwing up on his scoreboard segment. And well done, Todd, because according to you, Mark Burley on this day threw a perfect game at the age of 10, I think. So the youngest player in baseball history to throw a perfect game, according to you, in 1989.
I said 1989, and it was exactly 20 years later than that, in 2009.
So you just missed it by 20 years.
20 years.
And the fact that you had a winner for your scoreboard is even more amazing because now the audience is trying to figure out what you screwed up.
They just assume he always messes up. He must have meant the 2009 Mark Burley perfect game.
Yeah.
But
And,
yeah, July 23rd, 2009.
La La Land.
yeah. Congratulations, though. Least valuable Danette.
I got the July 23rd part.
You did.
but
You got
you
that
really
right.
need to get the year, too, especially if it's 2 decades
Yeah, you do.
earlier that you're saying that it happened.
I'm not going to nitpick here, Todd. You know, you almost
I
got
had
it
Steve
right.
Garvey right with
Yeah,
the
you
All-Star MVP, number 6.
did. This day in sports history, Paulie.
2009, Dan. Mark Burley, the White Sox, pitched the 18th perfect game in Major League history. He was 30 years
Are
old.
you sure?
It's on the piece of paper in front of me.
So it's not possible that a 10-year-old can throw a perfect game or get
Yeah,
signed by a team.
Just not in the major leagues, I don't think, unless you're Danny Almonte.
2000, Tiger Woods became the youngest player to complete the career Grand Slam when he won the British Open. He was 24 years old. Here's one I say just because it's a nice Bermanism. 1985, Dan, this baseball player, Odabe
Young again.
McDowell, became the first Texas Ranger to hit for the cycle. That was the one of Berman's that I think was a big hook. When I was a kid, I remember going, Odabe, young again, McDowell. And when I was 14, I was like, that's the funniest thing I'd ever heard. I was 14.
By the way, Mike Tyson is coming back to fight Roy Jones Jr. 8-round exhibition match, and there will be boxers and MMA fighters on the undercard. Looks like it will be in California, and no date announced. I'll watch it. I'll watch it. A couple of phone calls in here. Jake in Iowa joins us. Hi, Jake. What's on your mind today?
Hey, DP. I had seen you, I heard you were talking about hairdos, and I was watching the do-over last night with my wife, and come on, and it's like, oh, that's Dan Patrick. I was like, what the heck is wrong with his hair?
I decided that I was going to have a hairdo that was reminiscent of an Alabama quarterback. And so Sandler said, you can pick whatever hair you want. And I was working at this auto parts store, I think, and I had a really bad hairdo. Not that the Alabama quarterbacks have that, but don't they have the Bama bangs?
Yeah, the John Parker Wilson was one of the classic Alabama quarterbacks.
Yeah, or John Wilson Parker.
Yeah.
But I had the Bama Bangs. Is they had a run of quarterbacks who had that hairdo. Jesse in Los Angeles is back. Hi, Jess. What do you have for me?
Hey, Pete.
Yep.
Happy Fritzy Friday on a Thursday. That guy's on fire, so I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's show. And great interview with Suddy. Yeah, he's the best. My question for you is that after that interview with Suddy, who's a true baseball guy, I've always wanted to ask you this. Based on their types of personalities, if you had one final interview over an adult beverage, of course, all truth be told, with the best baseball guy to interview or the best hockey guy, who would it be and why?
Ooh. I think baseball players are used to telling stories. Those baseball players always. John Smoltz always has a story. Sutcliffe always has a story. Grace always has a story. They're so good at kind of taking snapshots of their career. Kevin Millar, every time he's on, they got a story. Wayne Gretzky doesn't tell stories. Mario Lemieux doesn't tell stories. Sidney Crosby doesn't tell stories. Chris Webber is a guy who tells a story. There's certain guys who come on, and that's just their personality. But, for the hockey guys, there would be guys who would come on, and they would have some interesting things to say. Brett Hall could tell a story, but I don't know if hockey really breeds big personalities. But a lot of these guys in baseball who've gone on to be broadcasters, they're able to tell a good story. Richard in Washington. Hi, Richard. What's on your mind?
Hey, Dan. Long-suffering Mariner baseball fan. Yeah. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to mention that this Blue Jays issue isn't unprecedented because years ago when the Mariners were playing in the Kingdome, they had roof tiles fall down on the fans and players and had to play the last, 30 or so games all on the road.
I forgot all about that, but thank you, Richard. And sorry about that as a long-suffering Mariners fan. They should have at least gotten one World Series out of that, right? Man, they had some talent. Those are fun teams. Those damn Yankees. They ruined it for everybody. Joe Buck will be on the program tomorrow, and my favorite shooter, Duncan Robinson of the Miami Heat, he will join us from the bubble. He was great last time he was on. He came out of nowhere. Like Williams College, then he went to Michigan, goes to the Heat. Next thing I know, he's in the three-point shooting contest. He's one of the best shooters in the game. When you're shooting 45% from three and 98% of your shots are from three-point range, you got value in the league. Let's go around the room what we learned on the program. Todd, I'll start with you, the least valuable Danette at the halfway point of the season.
Mark really did not throw a perfect game for the White Sox at the tender age of 10. He was actually 20 years later, 30 years old.
Okay.
That he pitched that perfect.
Thank you, Todd. McLovin.
Aaron Gordon of the Orlando Magic lives 12 minutes from his home and his dog in the bubble.
By the way, people want to know how you lost the other D in your name because we spell it T-O-D now. I thought it had to do with the American Unathletic Association
That's what
of
I'm
America.
hearing. I think you set up a bet with something about the
That I was going to be
championship
nice
game.
with you for the rest of the year if you won, and if not, you had to lose one of the Ds.
Right. Not only did my Orange Crush team lose, we lost badly to McLovin's team.
Thank you, Todd. Seton O'Connor, what did you learn today?
Aaron Gordon has a Rottweiler named Magic.
But they wouldn't let him bring it.
Yeah, it stinks.
Yeah. Paulie?
Nobody's going to cover Mark Burley more than us today.
Nope. We had Burley on after he threw the perfect game,
I don't know where I got
Todd.
1989 from, but that is ridiculous. He would have been 10 years old, and we could laugh at that, but that's like my 7th mistake already with the scoreboard.
But, the biggest surprise is not that you screwed up. It's that somebody got the scoreboard right.
They were able to overlook and just assume that I'm not going to have certain things right and still guess Mark Burley anyway at the age of 10.
Thank you, Todd. What did I learn today?
Rick Sutcliffe, who's far too handsome to call a game on radio, says Dave Kingman, Kevin McReynolds among those who hit some mammoth homers off him.
What we learned brought to you by Raycon Wireless Earbuds, the way to go. Get 15% off your Raycon order at buyraycon.com/Patrick. That's buyraycon.com/Patrick. Thanks for the contributions. We appreciate phone calls, emails, the tweets, the all-around support for the program. Visit the website for our T-shirts there. We'll have to come up with our new Blue Jays T-shirt here soon. Talk to you tomorrow on the program. Dan Patrick Show.